Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the final round of the season here in Octane Online Racing. We've packed up the virtual paddock and brought it stateside to America's very own Watkins Glen, a track steeped in history with high-speed heroics. Tonight is a true test of endurance and race car as the Porsche Cup cars and the GT4 machines go head-to-head in the multi-class action, all fighting underneath the stars and stripes. I'm Dan Madden. Joining me in the commentary box tonight is Matt Madden and Saxon Hayes. And
good evening, Dan. Wow, what a hell of an intro to Watkins Glen. One of the best tracks out there as far as I'm concerned. There's no better place that I've been bowling. It's my favourite thing. Every time you come up that main straight, you have that massive sign across it that just reminds you could be outside, but instead you're here and you're sim racing with us on this wonderful Thursday evening. I've missed the last 2 weeks. It's an absolute pleasure to be back. You and Dave have been carrying it from here. But tonight we've got a special guest with us. We've got Mr. Saxon Hayes, fresh off the plane from Japan. Saxon, what's going on, my man?
Konnichiwa, boys. Back from on and straight into Watkins Glen, which I absolutely love and have fond memories of battling JC on this track. Should be interesting to see what we get presented with these GT4s and your main man Dave as well.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Dan. Talk to us.
Mate, we've got a special treat for the viewers tonight. I don't know if it's a Octane Online Racing first, but Dave's traded the microphone in for the steering wheel, and we're jumping on board with him for qualifying to see a couple laps. That beautiful Camaro going around. It's got the beautiful American livery on it, and I can't wait to see how Dave goes tonight.
Very much looking forward to it. We are in qualifying at the moment. We've got 12 minutes to go, so the GT4s are just doing their last couple of laps. We will see if Mr. Hignett on the cameras, as usual, can drag Dave over in a few minutes, and we'll see if we can get a bit of an onboard look at what it's like to drive a GT4, in particular, the Camaro, around this wonderful track on its, I'd say, home turf. American car, Australian driver. We'll see where we get to with that if we have Dave in just a moment. But irrespective of anything else, fellas, have you ever driven a GT4 around Watkins Glen? I have a little while ago, but I'm keen to see if you guys have had any thoughts about how they fare here.
Yeah, mate, going back a long way to the Trio series that we ran, I was in the GT4 and it's slow, but it's definitely a lot of fun, mate. It sticks in most of the corners. Pretty sure you can go flat through here, up over the hill, down towards the chicane, and it just makes for some great racing. Have you done much here, Saxon?
I haven't done a single race in the GT4, so I'm well out in the depth here, boys.
Never given it a crack ever. Okay, I'd like to drill into this. Have you just, has the price of the DLC been spooking you, or you just not a GT4 man, prefer those longer nose GT3 variants?
Yeah, just GT3s or Porsche Cup, I've just never really been interested in the GT4s, would rather just jump straight into the Porsche Cup.
Absolutely, fly by the seat of your pants sort of stuff. We're on board with Dave Stevenson at the moment, who many of you out there know from the commentary team normally. A very fast driver in his own right and moving up through the ranks. We've all just finished our very last season of the Academy series within Octane Online Racing, so you will be seeing all of us head to the sprints next year, but Dave in particular will be one to watch. Typically, we'd expect him to actually sit around that silver level of the sprint series, so it'll be really interesting to watch him go next season. But it's good to hear that you've driven a few of the Porsche Cup cars, Saxon. I did about 30 minutes, I think, in a Porsche Cup car a couple of weeks ago when I arrogantly thought I'd jump in and see just how hard this actually is and whether or not I could muscle it around the track. Man, okay, so it's the closest GT car that I've driven to something that feels like a V8 supercar. It just doesn't feel like it's made to go fast well, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%. No traction control either. Always put your pants on tight. But just jumping back quickly, I don't think you or your brother there might be the only boys that would stay out of that silver badge on that one. Watching your races through the RD, it wouldn't be putting you far off that badge number either, to be honest, boys.
Flattery will get you everywhere, and we'll take it, but we'll wait and see. It's a different competition altogether. I think we're looking forward to it either way when that'll kick off in a good few weeks' time. Danzo, how are you feeling about the move ahead, mate? I know I watched your race at Imola the other night. Give us sort of the highlights, the lowlights, and the overview of that while we watch this qualifying.
By Imola, I'm hoping you mean Monza.
Yep,
the Temple
Monza.
of Speed, the Holy Temple of Speed. Yeah, mate, it was a hard race, and it was actually 2 races, and we had the inverse grid on the second race, and it was good. Obviously, it's Monza. A couple T1 accidents. The safety car came out and got us all back in a line again. A couple penalties given out, which just made for some really good racing, and I believe a huge back-to-back win by Dave Stevenson as well, which was just huge. But there was great battling throughout the middle of the field, and just a huge shout out to all the people that organised that. So that's Saxon, it's Glen, it's Hobbsy, and there's other people I'm definitely forgetting. But
I can fill in the blanks there, mate. We've got Logan Burton, fondly known as Bogan Lurton. Mitchell Hobbs has loved to instill that in the entire academy team. But there's also, Matt Powell as well, does a lot of the organisation behind the scenes. So thank you to all of the people that arranged that fantastic series. And if you're a new racer here, haven't dunked your toe in the water just yet, the Academy is the perfect place to start. And it builds you up, gives you everything you need to go into sprints. And the man in the booth with us tonight, Saxon, is actually the race director of a fair few of those Academy races. Also does a lot of the stewarding. Saxon, where's your head at for the next season of Academy? I think there's a few people moving up to Sprint Series, which means that you guys have done your job well. Do you think, as usual, we'll sort of see it pack out?
Yeah, every season there's naturally a group that kind of shows that they're outgrown the small tank that is the Academy Series and step into the big leagues with the bigger fish and, kind of go into that upper level points. There's others that, probably should be getting a nudge, but they'll stick around for another series just to tighten up the straps on their talent pool. But, it's always good when you see them come through, make sure that, the major sprints has high numbers, which always creates just that bit of extra chaos. And, from us in the stewards box, although we hate it, it also makes it so that we're just not, watching cars going around a track for the next 60 minutes.
We like that. The chaos and the carnage is all part of the fun. So a quick look at the field here. We've got a pretty good mix all the way through. Lots of different cars from lots of different sort of makes and models as we've got here. GT4s are just wrapping up now. We've just seen the Porsche Cup cars head out onto the track, I believe. We've got a bit of a smaller field here tonight. Call it the last race of the season. Only a few people competing at the top there. We've actually seen Lucas Keys fall off just a little bit from the top of that leaderboard. So it's really, really good to see a few other people actually coming in, kicking in there, doing something a little bit different. But we're on board with Lucas Keys. I wonder if he's going to go for another last to first challenge. I can only expect that he's going to try and do something a little bit different there. But just before we focus in on these Porsche Cup cars, we've got everyone's favourite, David Stevenson, coming on board to tell us about his qualifying. Dave, how'd it go, mate?
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm coming through loud and clear from inside the cockpit waiting for 5.5 minutes to go in the Porsches. So I didn't qualify last, so I'm absolutely thrilled. I've done about 5 laps in the entirety in my GT4 career, and 3 of them I haven't finished. So
absolutely.
I was proud. I think I can improve a little bit. Let's try and aim for a little bit of a top 10. Maybe we can see if we can get a few of these places. But I want some help from anyone out there. I'm currently running brake set 2 in my Camaro, and I want to see if there's anyone can give me some help out there in setup land, whether or not I should be running that or not.
So you got 5 minutes, everyone in the YouTube comments. Dave will call them out while you're still here. We see it's a US Camaro, mate. Hopefully you've topped your car up on tariffs there to keep it running for the rest of the race. But we look forward to watching you battle.
This is completely funded by everybody else in the world currently, the American muscle. So I thought bring out the Yank tank in Watkins, Glen. But mate, how good's this track? This track is so much fun to drive. They've got the bus stop going up after the hill. So mate, I can't wait to watch this back on the stream and hear you guys have an awesome chat. So and awesome coverage. So yeah, thanks for bringing us in, and you guys can keep doing the last 4 minutes of the Porsche Cup.
For sure, mate. So we're still focused on Lucas Keys here, putting in a bit of gospel and God's work, but just still hanging around the back there. Again, we've got to think that he's going to... Nope, never mind. As I've said it, I've shot myself in the foot, and he's rocketed to the top of the leaderboard there. We've got the usual combination of Patrick Johnson and Lucas Keys sitting up the top there, but a few people just finishing their laps now, so we can expect that leaderboard to update momentarily. This is a list that we've been pretty familiar seeing, Danzo. We've got Patrick Johnson, and then we've got Damiano Thircolini up the top there. Not Damiano Thircolini, sorry, Thircolini. Dylan McDowell, Lucas Keys up the top, all hogging that top 5 space. Jackson, you'd be pretty used to seeing these guys in sprints. Are there tracks that you can get them on, or are they, do they challenge you everywhere? Are there ones that you're faster? I know that you were saying Kyalami's not your favourite, but at your favourite tracks, do you just chip him?
Just comes down to your driver style, but I'm still yet to find a track that Lucas doesn't come out and bring some natural talent to it, to be honest.
He's an alien. We can rub him off the list, but the other boys, Thircolini, McDowell, Johnson, surely you'd be up in that mix, I reckon.
Oh, you're singing my high praises. I think those boys are still out of my league at the moment. But I've been loving watching, even from across the world, Paddy Johnson putting it to Lucas Keys a bit, and hopefully he can take it to him again today. That's something that with those Porsche Cups, no TCs, you're trying to do overtakes. Even the slightest adjustments can, well, for me anyway, it'd send me sideways into a wall. But these boys are somehow able to stay side by side and also manage the revs.
Yeah, I don't know whether we can actually put out some comms in car, but Thircolini, if you are listening, just a reminder, this is a standard form GT race. There will be no drift racing at any point. There might be a hype event in the next season, so you can jump in and do your drift racing there. Try and keep all 4 wheels in grip and on the track. Thank you very much. Danzo, what are you seeing in the leaderboard here, man?
I've just been going through all the results, the current standings. And we've got Patrick Johnson. He's just run away with it after last week's incident with Lucas Keys going off track. And we've got Stefano Rasciuti sitting in second place, tied with Zach Jensen. So that's a battle that I can't wait to see tonight if Jensen does turn up. I can't see him on the board just yet. Hopefully he is here tonight. But yeah, mate, I think it's going to shape up to be a real good one. Can Johnson keep it in front of Lucas Keys for the 45 minutes? That'll be the other question I want to see answered.
Yeah, we've been loving watching this battle, and you got to wonder, I just don't think the holy cows, we see the rear end of the Porsche almost catch up with the front. Again, you've got to keep that nose facing forward for maximal time, but we are still 0.15 up as we come back around through the outer loop and into the chute. This is such a good part of the track down here. It's ultra high camber for a lot of these turns, so you can really throw the car in. We're coming around, so we've just gone through chute and we're heading into toe and up the hill into the boot and heel as we go there. It's absolutely incredible watching these Porsche Cup cars go sailing through here with absolutely no TC, but a hell of a lot of vibes and spirit. Dave's messaging me in the background. We haven't got any updates. I think we've got an update from Bruno coming in the chat, letting you know pads 1 or 2, mate. No one really knows what the GT4s run. I reckon pad 2 is your safe bet if you're listening, Davo. Here, Paddy Johnson coming around. He's only 200ths off the lead there. Got to just put down a bit of a heater and try and stay up there. Lucas Keys on an invalid lap, it looks there. But we'll be restarting there again. We've got 47 seconds. All these cars are going back into their final lap now of qualifying there. Fastest lap. There we go. Yeah, 0.3 up at the end there. Takes first place off McDowell. McDowell doing a really good job in that gorgeous matte black and orange Porsche. Just sitting in there, really tucking in tight behind Paddy Johnson this week, so we'd like to see that. And Miller as well, John Miller just sitting there even at 0.3 behind McDowell, so not too bad tonight. Well done, mate. As we watch here, we're going through the bus stop there. Really, you just got to try and whip the thing through, take as much curve as humanly possible without dying. I think that's... I think we can all agree that that's pretty much the best aim that you can possibly go for there, but then you get that gorgeous right-hander outer loop. The ultra camber curve there. Danzo, I know you've spent a lot of time on this track. Any favourite parts, any favourite sections? Where's your head at?
It's got to be just what we watched Lucas Keys go through there. After the bus stop that you shut your eyes for every single lap and cross your fingers and let go of the steering wheel, you throw a long right-hander and then you're down to that left. And I think that's a secret place to do a move. You can get the nose in there on the left-hand side. I know Hobbsy's got to tell me not to put the nose in there, but I'm doing it anyway. That's the way I drive, and it just makes us some great racing through there. And just one quick thing, huge shout out to our sponsor, that is Thermaltake. They're putting prizes up for grabs. I know there's been mouses drawn earlier in the week, and after Sprint Red, we'll find out who's winning these steering wheels, where they're going home to. Oh, mate, just an awesome sponsor that's done a great job supporting the series.
Yeah, it's really cool to see them kick in and try and, really boost the future of that sim racing. I think it's so cool to see these challenger brands come in And we've had a couple of those mice go out. Is it mice or mouses? You sort of never really know with the computer tech.
Oh, mate, I don't know. They sort of call it a different thing over here stateside.
Yeah, one goes in the roof and one sits on your desk. So hopefully you never get too mixed up. But yeah, we've got Thermaltake giving away the mouse again this week, which is fantastic. We've also got, as Danzo mentioned, the giveaway at the end there. But one thing that I'm really looking forward to, boys, is the thermal overtakes of the week. The designers and creative team from Thermaltake have been doing an amazing job of actually putting together these super high level, really good, bloody awesome watching overtake videos for us to run. So really excited to go through. We'll be running a poll in the YouTube chat. For everyone that's watching, you can actually jump in and vote on what your favorite overtake is at the end of the night. And they'll get a crisp high five or a pat on the back, depending on what they choose. We'll have a new one of those every single week. As we get to 3 minutes into the race start, we go through the leaderboard here. We got Paddy Johnson, McDowell, and Miller up the top there. Keys a little way back. Can't tell if he's holding back or maybe looking to just maybe that
validated lap, mate.
There you go. This is why we have you in the box, Saxon, so you know what's going on. Saxon, talk us through the liveries, mate. What are you seeing here? What do you like? What don't you like? What turns you on? Give it to us.
Well, I like it as the more plain views and things. Lucas has gone for a bit more of a plain look. I do love that old Porsche number 4. Do love the custom liveries, not the ones that are just essentially streaks and lines where people have added a bit of ingenuity and creativity of something that I could never touch in my eyes. I couldn't use Blender to save my soul, but as we come down through into the GT4s, we're starting to see some custom lines. I do like the blue and white. I'll leave it back to you boys. I'm not too much of the artist.
So fun, mate. We got Zach Baker on the left there. A few cars that we haven't actually seen in quite a while. We've got John Foster there on the right, and a few other there that we haven't actually seen. It's good to see some Camaros out on track. I tell you what, a bit of love for the American cars in the chat as well. That big hunk of muscle and cheese. American cheese just kicking there. There we go. Zach Jensen in the familiar Ginetta there as well. A very familiar colour and car combo that we've seen. No Benny Vintner tonight, so Jensen should be powering up through the field. It'd be really interesting to see how he goes there. We've got some GT4s kicking up the back here, a couple of Beamers. And we've got that really bright, super in-your-face Camaro of Dave Stevo. That car's running on tariffs and goodwill tonight. Actually, I've seen Benny Vintner up the back there in the Audi. There he is. And we've got Blake there. Blake, she's rocking the Brat car this week again. The Brat summer, even though it's dead of winter. Well done, Blakey. Hopefully we see you surge to the front.
I believe Blake is currently looking at the back of that Camaro with a bit of Trump love on the back. Each to their own, but I'm sure here on the main straight of the Go Bowling, people have their MAGA hats on. It's just that part of the country.
Anyone that's not a Trump fan will be seeing red and maybe looking for a bit of a dive bomb overtake there, trying to sail their way around Davo. We've got the fruit bowl car of Paddy Johnson up the front there. Dylan McDowell. He's actually running a custom livery this week, which is really good to see. Adding some individual flair to that particular orange and black livery that I like. The Porsche guys, we've got a couple of Porsche guys cars out there. I love that he's got his driver name there. We've got the big sponsorship from Thermaltake on the wing. Love to see it. A few Octane online racing things. Well done, Dylan. That's looking bloody brilliant. And as Saxon said, massive shout out to everyone that goes through and designs those custom liveries. It is not for the faint of heart. I am not an artist, but I do attempt to use Blender. If anyone can actually help me with Blender, give me some useful tips, that'd be great. Can't draw anything but a straight line at the moment, so it'd be nice to actually be able to do something else. As we see Benny Vintner catching up to the pack there. It's the pedal on the right there. Benny is the one you're looking for, mate. And going over to the YouTube chat, absolutely no idea what a kilometre is, mate. We are in the US of A. We only measure things in bald eagles per mile here, which is a metric now that Dan Madden, living in Hawaii, is pretty familiar with, mate. How are you going with the old conversion of metric to imperial there?
Look, mate, I do struggle with it every day. Every now and again, there's just a couple blank looks that go around the table, especially today when I said, oh, mate, you've got 60 litres of hydraulic oil outside, and there's just a blank look across everyone's face. I was like, oh, roughly 15 gallons, mate. Oh, yes, yeah, no worries. So,
what the hell is a gallon?
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell is a litre?
The hell? Excellent. We see everyone lining up going through the bus stop here. Look at it. It's funny though, at this track, we have, I'm pretty sure those signs are meters, not feet.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, I'm thinking I could be wrong. I'm looking at the proximity. Anyone that actually knows whether or not in ACC, a European, I'm absolutely wrong.
Yeah, I don't think that where the 400 meter board is, that would be 400 meters to my eyes anyway.
It always felt short to me. I just thought I was going really bloody fast. So there you go.
Just depends on your FOV.
That's true. True. We need to add that into the Academy Series curriculum, maybe, there, Saxon. Just a good one for next season there, mate.
Hey, you could be right though, because I rock at the helmet cam still. So from my distance to the front of the dash, I could be well off.
We'll put it down to that. Jan's in the chat saying USA versus rest of the world. That's a safe metric here. I think that the rest of the world should be fine here tonight, Jan, but we'll see how we go. We'd love you to come out on top for the US. We put men on the moon. Rah, says Carbon. We love that. Thank you very much. They did. Anyone think... I saw a really interesting topic of conversation come up the other day. We are approaching the point in time where it is... it was closer between the Wright brothers' first flight and man on the moon than what it was to the last time that we set foot there, or the first time we set foot there, sorry. So I think it was like 67 years or something between the Wright brothers' first flight and those first boots of Neil Armstrong on the moon. And I think it was, whatever, like 50 odd years ago now. So we're coming up to a teetering point. It's time to go back, maybe. This is Thursday night chat with your racers. While we do our big warm-up lap here, setting up everyone, trying to get those tyres warm. We are coming up around under the Go Bowling sign. We're going to go bowling tonight. Hopefully we avoid the collisions, though. We don't want the cars to go actually bowling and take some pins out. We're going to go here. We're going to watch for that green light. Get ready tonight, everyone. We've got 20 cars in a field there. It's pretty good. Only a small number of Porsche Cup cars, and we are off. Dylan McDowell surging around the outside. Paddy Johnson has the better line here. Able to just stay over and keep on that curb. Dylan McDowell holding the outside there, going to tuck in nicely. We've got Ralphie, I think, sitting up, has just gained a position there on the back, sitting tucked nicely behind what I think is the Maserati there. No TC, no ABS, all fun. Coming up around towards the bus stop. This is where things are going to get tight in these situations when you're a pretty tight pack. Sometimes there's too wide. You do have to take it just a little bit slower. You're going to brake that a little bit earlier, roll off the accelerator, avoid the collision. Ralphie's trying to go around the outside there of the Maserati, but the Maserati's raw power managing to hold on through the bus stop. We look clean for the Porsches, holding on for the GT4s. Some of them are too wide, but they're really holding on tight. Dave Stevenson in second last place, dropped a couple of there, I think, but he's holding on. Boys, what are you seeing here? Danzo, tell me what you got.
I saw Blake actually power through the field, I believe. Got a really good race start. Sorry, mate, I've just been so involved in your commentary, just been riding along. Saxon might have seen some more.
No, I'm just pretty much watching Zach Jensen putting on a defence and telling the car behind that he's having none of that. But other than that, I've just also a bit wonder blasted by Matty.
you have done the commentator's curse there, mate, and he's left the door open for Will Shen there. Shen just sitting on the inside, tucking in. There is a little bit of overlap there, so he has the right to the space of the corner. They're going to sit 2 by 2, going around up the bottom end of the track through to this final sector. I believe they're coming up to the boot and heel now. Nope, sorry, we're at a completely different section. We're just going through heel, turn 9 and 10, back onto the main straight. So a little bit of action there going, but everyone's falling nicely into line. Vintner and Griffiths both surging through. A reminder that Vintner started last and is already sitting in 16th, having made up 4 positions. And then Blake there, a woman from the commentary box, she is also up there in position 15. Surging through the pack. You got to think that these two doing a bit of a last to first challenge, trying to push themselves in this bigger field of GT4s tonight.
I'd like to see that GT4 field still all bunched up after one lap as we got, let's just have a look here, Dave's still with it, and mate, where was that McLaren? That is a beautiful looking McLaren, the bright yellow one. Is that Shen, I believe, number 9?
Will Shen in there.
Yeah.
Now, Saxon, you might actually know this. We've had it brought up before. Does Shen race on mouse and keyboard? Or is that someone else? We had, I think it might have been Will Shen or someone similar actually won as they go sailing over the curb. Well done, Shen. No, this is... Oh, no, tippy
Oh.
tap taps. Yeah, that's definitely tippy tap taps. This is definitely a PC racer. Because I think Will Shen won the mouse and keyboard the other week, or mouse, sorry, from Thermaltake, our wonderful sponsor, which is technically sim racing hardware. What a prize.
Those are the unmistakable in-car cam view of the Wasta.
The tippy tap taps. As Will Shen just loses a little bit there to Zach Jensen. Zach Jensen, eyes firmly set on Zach Baker. It's going to have a bit of a Zach on Zach battle in the Janettas. Wonder if they teed that up. We're back on here live with the Porsche Cup cars. Looking around, we've got Dave's favourite car there as well, the car of Joel Miller. Looking for a way around Lucas Keys there. Lucas Keys, but perhaps not his favourite track here at Watkins Glen, but is getting caught a little bit behind there, but the car of Thircolini there as well. Damiano Thircolini sitting in a little ways back from McDowell there too, just 0.6 behind as we watch Paddy Johnson again just surging away early in the race. Going for that same strategy you've been watching the last couple of weeks, Danzo, while I've been out of the commentary box, managing to just try and get a little bit of a lead on the field and then try and hold Lucas Keys off when the inevitable surge happens.
Look, Lucas Keys just making it look a little bit hard tonight. I don't know if that throttle is going all the way to the floor as we see him try and get a look around the outside. You cannot go too wide through there. That's it, Lucas. Get back in line. You're going to have to wait till later on the track. I do say you can't go too wide. I believe Luck the Marble was someone who sent it around the outside, or inside of me technically, on that chicane in an academy race, and we somehow both got through unscathed, as we're currently on board with Jensen, with Baker, Shen and Foster, all just battling around here as we come to the chicane. Oh my goodness, taking so much curb, everyone just sliding around, and we just see the lead being extended there by, is it Jensen in the Janetta?
Yeah.
It is.
It is Jensen in the Janetta. He's actually surged right there, but it was insane. I can't even imagine how hard that D key would have been thrown through the floor of William Shen's keyboard there. My goodness, he was hitting that hard to try and make the turn there, but really quickly made up a position or two just going into the bus stop there. What a move from him. Well done, Will. Saxon, are you going too wide into that bus stop? Surely. I think you like to stick the nose in there and occasionally remind people that you own just as much of the track as they do. You see Vintner go too wide here, taking the inside line. Really well done, Vintner, taking over Anderson.
Yeah, no, I don't have the cojones for that, to be honest. That is definitely a place where I am choosing life over what could be a potentially a move. But, you know, going back to what you're saying with Lucas kind of struggling to get past Thircolini, he's been pointing the nose there, and each time Thirk's just told him, pipe down there, small buck, I'm going through. As he's got a good ride coming to the bus stop, we'll see what happens here.
This is good racing from Thirks here. Thircolini holding the inside line, but also choosing to move over to the outside once he said, no, you stay back there. You're fine. Thanks, Lucas. Try again next lap. Seems to be the only place out of turn 4 there onto the back straight where Lucas Keys actually gets just enough momentum there to look at an overtake. We see everyone running super wide into that turn, using every inch of the track. Something that I think that I do well, but then I watch these guys, the top of the Octane Online Racing League. These guys use every millimeter, and if you're in the US, millimeter is one whisker of a bald eagle there. So that's about the approximate width. If we convert that to imperial, you'll have to catch up and do that on your own. As we see a car with 2 wheels in the dirt, you can't take that line. My goodness, but manages to keep it together. Really well done there from, I think that was Busk, just holding it on behind Nate James.
See Klomp just leading this little pack of Benny Vinter and Anderson around the left-hander there. We come towards awesome corner. It goes uphill. You can dive so late on the brakes. Don't know if Benny just looking for better drive on the Audis. He holds the inside brilliantly. Here we might see an overtake here. Down, got a little straight here. Oh, wow, look at that. Is that the Beamer that just pulls away? This is the Audi. No, mate, you need a big V8 engine. You don't have it. Get behind.
Just careful there, Danzo. You do know that we have an Audi lover in the chat with us here tonight. Saxon Hayes does love an Audi. So I'm surprised that you haven't had fleeting thoughts of the GT4 Audi, Saxon. Just another way for you to scratch that itch, my man.
Yeah, look, Benny Vender's making me a believer that it might be something of enjoyable there. Just showing us that we're a little bit of a different breed, even though there's a lot of hatred, even coming from the other side of this box tonight. But I'm loving that Benny V's putting on a clinic.
Yeah, Benny's been driving this thing so well, and particularly at the start of the season, one of the first races we actually got to commentate on was at Kyalami, and Benny did an unbelievable job. Just lost it at the end there, didn't quite manage to defend and hold Jensen off, but man, he made it look so easy in that Audi. I do wonder if it's a little bit tamer than the GT3 variant. Manages to just hold on a little bit better, and I think it's a little bit pointier, but then again, I haven't spent any time at all in a GT3 or GT4 Audi, so plenty of knowledge left to be desired from my part. We see Dylan McDowell coming through here along the straight, sitting there, coming through, holding that camber a little bit wide there, mate, but manages to hold on to the pack, leading the procession there, now falling just almost 3 seconds behind Paddy Johnson, but we have less than a second, or just over a second, sorry, between the next 3 cars thereafter. Really tight little procession here, which is what we like. A little posse up at the top of the leaderboard there for the Porsche Cup cars.
Just going on board here with Keys. Still can't find a way past that 500 Fruit Bowls car. I don't know Lucas that well. I don't know if this is intriguing him, he likes a good battle, or if this is just annoying him and he wants to get first place and he wants the win because that's all he knows is winning. As we saw last week when he went off track, he realised because he damaged that poor Porsche and he's like, stuff it, I'm going to go practice for Bathurst. I'm logging out. See you guys next week.
So we're watching here, Lucas comes out of T4, has a heap of overspeed, sits in behind there looking for a way around, cannot find a way around, sits in tucked nicely behind Thurks there. Thurks has got to, again, I do like to think of Lucas Keys a bit like a border collie or maybe an ADD lab scientist. I think he's there, and I think he just kind of sometimes takes a step back, cocks his head once or twice, and just has a look at those cars that he's herding around him, just trying to figure out, what do you do? How do you work? And how can I herd you and make you mine? It almost looks like he's just playing with his food half the time, but for all rights here, Thurkalini is holding him off really well. Just saw a glimpse of a GT4 battle. Vincent is sitting hard on the arse of Klomp there. We're watching a bit of action here. We've got a little procession. Hang on. We've got Lucas Keys looking for an outside line around Thurkalini there. However, Thurks holds off, playing the defensive card well. It's a tough thing when you're in that little pack there. Saxon, what's the play? You're a far more experienced driver than Dan and I. When you're in one of these little battles, if you're Lucas Keys here, you've almost got Thurkalini pushing on McDowell. What's your best play? Are you looking for a way around in the middle of this battle, or are you waiting until the front 2 cars get super involved and then you try and benefit from whatever carnage they end up in?
I'm looking to kind of just be a bit of a vulture, they're going to push on each other, one compromises the others. There's going to be something that gets you a bit of a line there. But knowing Lucas, I don't know if you've ever seen those memes of the vegan person that hasn't told them that they're a vegan for 15 seconds with the neck veins and everything popping. That is Lucas. He would be absolutely white-knuckling that steering wheel, just frustrated that he hasn't made any movements on third because he just keeps telling him he wouldn't have thought and has sent him back to behind him.
The only thing I can see here is that Lucas might just benefit from the classic battle of the Ds between McDowell and Thurkalini that we've seen so many weeks before in the GT4s. As we're just looking down the field here and we see Rischuti that's just driving away with it at the moment, following Rippy in the BMW, Jensen in the Ginetta, and Shen in the McLaren. That gap has started open at the start of the GT4 field, unlike the Porsche field, where Johnson is driving away with it, but we also have that battle pack of McDowell, Thurkalini and Keys, and Miller now on the field.
Yeah, Miller, the favourite car of Dave Stevenson, that wonderful, wonderful bright blue, sort of purpley kind of livery. It's a great little colour combo that Dave runs on Exaction Kart Shop Cars, the wonderful go-kart business that he does run, that we are looking for a way to continue referencing that every week, just so that if you're into go-kart racing, go see Dave. Go drive for Dave. Dave's a great guy. Actually, we have some an update, I think, on the Enduro that Dave raced last weekend. 6-hour Enduro he was in. Managed to pull up a P2 in class. So good on you there, Dave. It was 6 hours in a go-kart. Can't imagine it to be the comfiest thing in the world, but I think the main thing is it didn't rain. which, you know, you get a bit wet in those things. At least these GTs have roofs.
Look, I've seen some funny things in my time, and I do like going down to the track to watch Dave drive. But if you've ever seen a 6'5" man in a go-kart, it is something funny to watch as his head is just towering over everyone else in the field. You can almost see first place every time, just looks around the track, and you can see them from anywhere.
I couldn't interrupt you on that thought path, but we have just seen Lucas Keys finally make the move there on Thermaltake, but it has also opened the door as Thermaltake backed off there. Joel Miller's looking for a way around, sucks in nicely as we go through that bus stop, smacking the curbs as hard as we possibly can, but managing to keep it on track. There's going to be a bit of a battle to ensure here between Thermaltake and Miller. I reckon Joel's going to keep pushing the point here, but Thermaltake is driving really, really well tonight. A bit unlucky to lose out to Lucas Keys there in turn 2, 3, and 4 there. It's such a tough little section of track. Seeing some questions come up in chat. Kamaris, yes, 6 hours with driver swaps. They had 3 drivers. I think the longest stint that Dave put together might have been an hour and a half as we watched the wagging tail of McDowell there. It's going to open the door a little bit for Lucas Keys, who got a better exit out of the toe into the boot, coming up into heel. That tight right-hander before we come up into the even tighter turn 9 and 10. Coming through with a heap of speed here. Managing to hold the inside line does McDowell. But we've got Lucas Keys there pushing the point on the outside, giving a bit of a waggle. That no TC really not helping push the point there. But they suck in nicely and continue that little procession.
Look, I don't know if Keys can even chase down Johnston at this track. I think he's just lacking a bit of pace that we usually see from Keys. I don't know, maybe we've got 700 fruit bowls on board instead of 500. We're just weighing down the back of that Porsche.
Too many fruit bowls, Lucas. He got to ditch some, mate. He's bopped himself. Saxon, you're from the the fruit bowl side of the fence of Octane Online Racing. How many races? Who's done the most amount of races in the fruit bowl? Actually, we're going to see a bit of a replay here. We've got the GT4s. Sorry to not pass over to you there, Saxon, but we're coming up through. This is toe at the bottom into the boot. This is such a tight corner to keep on, but wow, a little bit of that left-right action from Jensen, I believe, keeps it on track. Well done, mate. Going back to you, Saxon, who's done the most fruit bowl races? If you don't know off the top of your head, that's fine. We can ask how many you've done. But what are the stats like? I can imagine there's a few out there.
I think there's some that have done like 2,000 fruit bowls or something close to that. There's a lot of Bathurst specialists. Lucas, I believe, is maybe top 5, but there's a lot more that have done more than him.
Yeah, that's 2,000 fruit bowls. It's a heap of fruit bowls. That's you can really overdo it on those fruit bowls. A lot of short races. We're watching here Nate James coming up the inside. Great racing here, pushing the point. I believe that's Nate James going around the outside of Busk. Bit hard to... Oh, no, sorry. Nate James losing out to Bus there. Bus took up the inside there. Going down the list, actually, we've seen a bit of a position swap. We've now got Dave Stevenson sitting just behind Rick Lean. We missed the overtake there from Rick Lean. Well done, Rick. Dave possibly suffering from not too much time in the Camaro or in the GT4s categorically. I spoke to him at 7:14 p.m. and the reason that time is so important is because that was the exact moment that he purchased the GT4 DLC.
As we see the YouTube chat going off, each week there seems to be a theme. This week was a history lesson compared to last week's ice cream discussion, and now we go on to milkshakes thanks to Marshy. I'd like to know Marshy's favourite milkshake flavour and whether he prefers a thick shake or a milkshake. Does he like to compress that straw, or does he just like it to come into his mouth very easily? Don't look too deeply into my words. Let's just switch back over to Saxon as we watch Keys go around chasing McDowell.
I'm going to bring up that
milkshake. Just a friendly reminder,
that.
This is PG rated there, Dan. Jesus, as we're going down there.
We're going to go on board and we're going to watch this overtake, I think, of Rick Lean on Dave Stevenson. Coming up there, this is the turn that we saw before, coming up out of toe. It's such a hard one to stick. Dave manages to not Yeah, he's into a wall there. He's going to have a bit of left-hand damage, but again, for the American muscle, you don't really notice that the thing's made out of solid cinder blocks, so he's going to continue on and sit behind there. But we've also seen Vintner go to the back of the pack. I'm not sure what's happened there. Vintner possibly more damage. We'll have to come back. We'll get Benny Hignett on the cameras there, going to find out what's going on. Saxon, I believe we've got an update on the number of fruit bowls for us. What do you got?
Yeah, so it was absolutely bang on the money. G-Lane on 2,051. Lucas is actually 14th on the list, with Paddy J coming in 16th with 940 and 887 apiece, which if Toto ever gets into it, he loves doing his mass conversions of what that is in time to versus fruit bowls.
Never ask. Never ask. We're going to see what happened to Benny Vintner here. Sucked in tight behind the BMW in front of him. Oh, there's just a little bit of contact. Vintner tries to hold it on, but possibly gets hard done by there, trying to save himself. Sits there on the track, probably had to let the procession go through. Big thanks to Benny Hignett there on the cameras there, making it all happen in front of us. I can't even imagine how hard this is. We just found out tonight that Benny Hignett is actually running 2 PCs at the moment. I'm not going to pretend to understand how that works aside from really well. So thanks heaps, Benny, for everything you do, mate. You're an absolute ripper. And you bring us this stylistic, lovely content, including the Thermaltake magic. That's exactly how it's done. And a magician never reveals their tricks or secrets. We got a big Thermaltake wing there. Lucas Keys sniffing up under the Thermaltake wing of McDowell there. Huge shout out to the sponsor. We're going to be moving to the sprint series after this for the last race of the season. So make sure you stick around and tune in for that, as well as the thermal overtakes of the week from the last week. We're going to miss presenting it to you next week, but we'll be back next season with much, much more. So we see here Lucas Keys pulling 2 wide. Danzo, talk us through it.
Oh, Lucas Keys, sorry, coming down the inside where McDowell just says, oh my goodness, sorry, he's lost the grip around the outside. Didn't see that coming. Lucas Keys has the move done. Look at that, he's got to park it on the apex. Beautiful driving from Keys. He got a lot of work in front of him. 6 seconds up to Johnson. That might just be a great battle that we'll be able to see in the last 5 minutes of this race. That battle pack finally opens up for a bit. Everyone's just breathing after holding their breath for the last 20 minutes. It's just been great racing. As we see, I believe from the stewarding team that there was no investigation after Vintier was in that accident, just a racing incident, I believe.
Absolutely. We're going to see in the chat, before I ask the question of Benny, oh no, we've just seen Thurkalini go off. Thurkalini, watch that grip, mate. Hold your brakes. Hold your brakes, says Hobbsy from somewhere down in Wangaratta, we assume. Manages to just lose grip on that right-hand turn, I believe it was. No good, going careering into the wall. We're watching Raupi now chase down Jensen up the backside of Toe there. We're watching 2 wide here from William Shen battling Zach Baker there in the Janetta. Shen putting it up the inside, smashing that D key on the Wasta. Well done, managing to keep it all together. Very well done, fellas. It's a clean and good overtake. We're going to get some guesses in chat. I don't want to know the answer yet, Benny. I know that you'll display it on screen when the time is right, but we want to know how many monitors does Benny Hignett run? We're watching here, that right-hander just manages to lose grip here. It's so easy to do when the car is unsettled. Losing all the grip on that left rear, which just unsettles everything, sends you spitting out to the right wall. Been there, done that. Danzo, Saxon, I'm almost positive that you guys have done the exact same thing. F's in the chat for Thurkalini.
Yeah, absolutely. But I also just love how indoctrinated you are from the school of Hobbsy there. Just immediately start screaming, hold your brakes.
Hold your brakes.
That's going to come immediately from Hobbsy grilling you boys for an entire season.
We are bruised and battered, but we learnt.
Are we talking?
Oh god, we're gonna go with monitors that are on, Ben. I think how many monitors is Benny Hignett running that are currently switched on? I'm gonna go with 4. I don't see this getting produced with any less than 4.
I'm going any more than 3 is insane. Like you don't have 3 or 4 eyes, so I don't know how you're looking at 4, Matt. What do you reckon, Saxon?
Are we discounting that he could be using multiple screens as one?
Oh lordy!
Ooh.
Or one as multiple screens if you've got a big curved monitor.
Yeah, the answer is yes. If I could say that there'd be anything between 2 and like 6 for Ignat, to be honest.
Oh, we've seen a car go into the wall. We're off. Dave Stevenson off. We're
Hold your
seeing some
brakes.
blue flag cars. Hold your brakes, Davo. We've just seen a bit of carnage at the back of the pack as the blue flag. Sorry, we got hooked on the monitor chat. Well, we'll have to come back to that later. Benny Hignett, I can already see him starting to prepare the replay for us in the background. We've just got some really tough positions there. It is so hard to try and find room as the blue flag car there. There is nowhere to go, but you've somehow got to find a way around. You have all that additional pace. We're going to get a replay up of that in just a sec, but we are watching this procession settle down a little bit now. Thank goodness we can breathe.
And we've just dropped down to 19 drivers as well. I don't know if someone dropped out or if someone put it into the wall and called it a night. We'll have to find out there. Maybe the chat can help me out as we see Miller just showing McDowell the car. Switch back to the replay here. I'm not sure who that is. You know this livery better than me.
I think that's Nate James actually there. Oh yeah, it's just run wide.
Oh, you can't go through those, mate.
You can't park there. Dave's possibly unsettled by it as well. Does a little beautiful pirouette off those curbs that you cannot touch. Send him to Narnia. We wonder, I've just noticed that James has also popped out of the race tonight, so there could have been a hardware failure. Hopefully we'll catch up and hear from him a little bit later in the Octane Online Racing Discord chat. We've got two wide here. We've got Raupi and Jensen going to try and pull into the bus stop. They're going to get very close, but Jensen gets the better run through and out the other side. Terrific work. Raupi is really pushing the point there, but Jensen sticking his nose in and holding it all within the rules. What a wonderful little overtake there. Good contestant for any thermal overtake of the week. We've got there. Raupi's just using the raw pace on the straights of that BMW to stay in tight. Keep tucked in around the bottom of the outer loop through chute and into toe now. They're going to come up. He's going to tuck inside. This is that turn, that right-hander that's really hard to stay gripped up on the top end there as we see Shen following the same line. There is no grip out there, Zach Baker. Don't try that line. Tuck in tight. Well done. Grippy, uppy, tight. That's got to be one of my better ones, I think.
Almost as good as Octane Online Racing.
Yeah, one of my favourites that I won't ever live down in the eyes of JC. Okay, so we've got a couple of guesses here while things settle down. So most people going with 3 monitors for broadcasting. Triples with a single stretched image would go well from Brock. 8 monitors like NASA ground control room. Kamaris, that's exactly how I like to picture it, mate, as well. Sir Hex telling us that he's got 6 monitors going. 3 on desk, 3 on sim rig. That's pretty hectic. More screens than windows in your house there, mate. Benny, whenever you're ready, mate, flash up the answer on how many monitors you currently have on for the purposes of this. 4 with an iPad to watch the stream back, 3 on SimRig. So technically, 3 or 4, I think you're a winner there. We'll take that. Well done. That's impressive. Now I sort of want to know how many you've got in total, but we'll focus back on the racing now so that we don't lose ourselves to base chats, ice cream waffle or milkshakes. We will come back to the milkshake waffle in a little bit because Danzo loves talking about a thick shake. He's got a bit of a hankering for him, particularly the Max variety. As we see Lucas Keys coming up, blue flagged on William Shen there. They are going to go through the bus stop as Lucas Keys loses a little bit of pace, unsettling the car, but throwing it through. He's going to look possibly for a way down the inside, tucking in tight.
I thought you had to let him through there.
Out of the way. Goodness gracious, where are you going? You got to get off the racing line.
I can hear Hobbsy. You are blue flag. Get off the line.
I don't know if you boys saw, did Lucas just take a little detour off to the sidewall or no match to his own on the way out to the chicane? Or was that my eyes playing funny buggers? Or maybe the great man might get a replay on that for me.
Yeah, I think we'll go back and have a look and we'll figure it out as we're seeing Vincent tucked in really ridiculously tight to Rick Glen there, going for a bit of a mind punt, but manages to back off and just hold his own there, touches a bit of curb. There's not a great place to do it. But I think one of the worst things, we've just gone past it there, down through the outer loop and chute, is the grass on the right-hand side of chute. That is insta-death. Never touch that. Never go anywhere near it.
On board here with Keys. As we
almost.
Geez, I didn't know you take that much curb.
Yeah, it was really tight on that right-hander. It's also hard when you're in the left-hand drive. And look at that, tucks in nicely. William Shen opening the door just to say, please leave me alone. Go on and work your ways elsewhere. Here we're seeing Zach Baker chasing down William Shen there. The sun glinting as we get to the late afternoon, 6:33 p.m. in-game. Running a little bit wide, sucking in tight behind William Shen. It's going to be a good run here.
Oh, surely get the move done here on the McLaren down the straight. I don't think the McLaren quite has the legs on the Ginetta here. Oh my goodness, has he tapped the brakes? I don't know what's happened there. It's just dropped off completely.
Did look to be a safety lift, especially as we see 3 blue flag cars, the Porsche Cup cars of McDowell, Miller, and I think that's Thurkalini coming up the back.
Oh no!
Hold your brakes. He's off and he's dead. There's carnage. There's multi-class carnage on your Thursday night. We almost promise it every week as we're seeing 2 wide from Baker and Shen. We're going to go back and have a bit of a replay of what happened before here. We're seeing that. Benny Hignett so quick on the replay. This is such a bad place to rejoin the hop, skip, and a jump. The Porsche Pogo. And then goes crashing in, does the McLaren there. No good at all. I think that was the McLaren of John Foster, which would be absolutely feeling it after that impact.
That was a big booty malicious BMW moment there. Is that Porsche was just hopping across the track with absolutely no control whatsoever.
I was watching Zach Baker run a little bit wide there, conceding the position back to William Shen. Seeing a Beamer tuck in and just go wide into the outside. Ralphie almost just forgetting how to use that left foot brake. Oh no, goes careering into the wall. Where's the hold your brakes? Come on, Ralphie, we've done better than this. We're seeing here, we've got William Shen, Zach Baker, sorry, my mistake. They are tucked in and tight together. Going through the leaderboard's not reflecting it there, but it should update in just a moment.
There we are.
There we are. Reflecting now. William Shen and Zach Baker, these guys are going neck and neck.
Oh, sorry, mate, but we flicked to the front of the race with Johnston finally being caught by Keys coming up to the bus stop here. Matt Keys is just going to be bearing down on this car. Finally, I've caught you, and I've got 15 minutes to get the move done. I think he just buys his time and waits for a mistake from Johnson, which might be a rare one. Well, how do you got to get it done, Saxon, if you're Keys?
Oh, it's evenly matched. Track doesn't things. Maybe you test his cojones down the straight to the bus stop and see if he yields. Knowing Paddy, I wouldn't be betting me $1 on that one, but I feel as though Lucas struggling with the Oreo split earlier between the Ds before might also have a bit of trouble getting past him here.
Just looking down the field here, Thurkalini is finally caught up back to McDowell. We might see the battle of the Ds towards the end of the race again. A huge effort from Miller to have that car in third place. Is a AM driver there, the only AM driver in the field tonight. Just doing a really good job on that car.
I think that's a mix-up on the class cars, man. I think Miller's actually up there in the sprint series, and he's a really quick driver, so he's doing really well up there. We've just got an error in the entry list, perhaps. But we've got Johnson managing to slide it around, hold on, go bowling is that brilliant reminder, but Lucas Keys going to stick his nose at the inside, looking for one of those trademark mine punts, his Keys, but he's going to tuck in tight and break into this first right-hander. This is the one that we saw a couple of cars lose it before. It's so easy to have a bit too much steering input as you go sailing over that curb, but they managed to keep in. Now Lucas Keys' play here is going to be to try and tuck in tight, suck up to the back of that Thermaltake wing that we see there on Paddy Johnston. He's going to hold on, try and get as close as possible and make a late move, I reckon, coming into the bus stop. Going to come here now, look to get alongside, doesn't have pace, doesn't have the overspeed, sits in behind and do a lap of survival, does Paddy Johnston. We've got 13 and a half minutes left to run the race. Can he hold on? Plus 20 kilos, TK says Kamara. Can't say I disagree. A bit of a replay here. Look at that car's going through this. Look at him holding on. How much steering input he is working to keep the car on track. Saxon, how does he do it? I don't know.
I don't know how he makes himself on that tank slapper, but you know, he does things that not many of us can do. Is he still somehow finding a way to overlap Paddy and just let him go? He's there. He gets, shot in the door once again.
Absolutely. I want on the leaderboard as well. Dave Stavo now 7 seconds behind the car of Lane. Possibly some more incidents there, some lack of experience at the Camaro. Hopefully we'll see him next season or just back in the commentary box when he comes with his new lived experience.
As we see these Porsche Cup cars just losing their tyres now after all this racing. As you see Lucas Keys with those tank slappers, I think the tyres are just finally going on these Porsche Cup cars. And this is where your driving comes into your own. You've got to be gentle on the throttle, gentle on the brakes. They're just wishing they could add an extra click of TC, which they can't, being the Porsche Cup cars. Just really asking yourself questions. Why didn't I do the GT4s? Why am I in this Porsche Cup car?
Why did I make this decision? What is the reason behind this?
It's like the first date with a significant other there. You can't be too aggressive and make maybe too much of a subtle question through to them, because they'll throw the table, the wine glass over you. It's kind of a bit of a dance all the way through to the end.
Look, we'll come back to where that has come from, Saxon, because it sounds like there's more to it than just that story.
We've just had a few people off their nightly Thursday night Octane Online Racing Sprints and GT4 Porsche Cup car bingo cards. Discord audio goes robotic. Mark it off, everyone. You can stamp that one. Discord audio doing Discord things. No idea. Happens basically every race, once or twice. Just the magic of the whole thing. Watch the cars. These two battling. Will Shen and Zach Baker still going head to head. Baker taking a little bit of an interesting line through the bus stop there. And it's just to hold around on the outer loop into shoot. Love watching the cars come around that outer loop, go far left on the track there and just sail around. Good track. Circling back, I've just scrolled up through the YouTube chat and I have seen that we've got someone, caramel milkshake. Ugh. Not for me.
I saw lime. I saw lime up there somewhere.
Oh, lime's a classic. I've only ever had a couple of lime milkshakes in my life, but they're a bit rude. It's a bit like one of those. Remember the old lime? I think they were the Holden Commodores did it for a little bit, and then the Ford Falcons had the lime green. A little bit rude. Everyone can see it. Everyone thinks you're a little bit fruity, but they're fun. Lime milkshakes. It's an interesting choice.
I wonder if Blake, if she's a lime milkshake kind of person with that lime green brat car that we see going around, just half a second behind Clomp. As we see Key still just holding the flashlight up to the back of Johnson, hoping the rear tyres will just melt away. Blue Heaven milkshakes are great. I haven't had one.
Bad shout from Betty there. That is a great shout.
I need to go away and Google this. So please, everyone that's listening along, excuse me while I Google a Blue Heaven milkshake.
Is it Blue Heaven or Blue Haven? Because different things in the chat and race control.
Flavour of milkshake and topping flavour sold primarily in Australia. It's a unique one here. Blue in colour, taste of vanilla and raspberry. I can get behind that. Oh, no, yes. Yeah, I've seen these. They have an aggressive topper on them, quite usually. Cream, and then they've got some little blue squiggle. Order up. Anyone that feels like Uber Eating something for the commentary box, we'll have 3 Blue Haven milkshakes. Heaven or Haven? I think it's Heaven. Blue Heaven milkshakes. Thank you.
As we see, JC's apparently a caramel lover. I thought you were better than that, mate.
Well, JC, you know. Caramel's too much, mate. Caramel milkshakes. It's a lot of milk to get through, and then you add a complex flavour on top. Cognitive bloat, or too much going on. Looks like toilet cleaner, says Kamaris. Yeah, it kind of does, hey? All right, you slap a duck on the side of that, put a little nozzle on, you stiff it straight into the toilet bowl. We see here Paddy Johnson going back to the race, moving away from the random chat. It's like day 3 of a test match we've got going on here. It's been a long week, everyone, but welcome to your Thursday night Thermaltake Sprint Series and GT4 Porsche Cup cars. We've got Lucas Keys sitting here looking for some overspeed into the bus stop. Sailing through, going to try and tuck up really nice and tight, but it's going to be a ballsy move if he gets it. Going to stick the nose around the outside, but have to relent and tuck in, go through, look for another opportunity on another lap as we have just over 8 minutes to go of racing.
On us 3 sacks and give us the play-by-play. What's Keys thinking? What's Johnson thinking?
Who would order a caramel milkshake, like in their right mind? I mean, that's maybe where my head's at this point. He's been watching the back of Paddy Johnson for the last 9 minutes. I mean, I don't know if you can keep the concentration up, you'd start going into autopilot, wouldn't you, at this point?
Yeah, it's a bit like that, right? As we do see a quick message coming through from the one and only Bud Madden, not another brother. He is indeed the father of Dan and myself, coming in with a salty caramel thick shake. It's an aggressive go-to. I didn't inherit that one from you, big man, but that's we'll leave you and your salty caramel milkshakes to yourselves. We got the Thermaltake wing there of Griffiths. She's holding off. Managing to keep Busk at bay there, but they are going sailing into the bus stop. Busk just going to sit back a little bit, take the safe route as they just put 2 wheels in the dirt. Busk holding on, managed to actually pull away with a bit of speed there. I don't think that's outside track limits too. Well take. GT4s will go over anything.
Look at these cars. They have not separated. I believe this has got to be one car. It's going to be the Fruit Bowl 500 Fruit Bowl car with 8 wheels because you cannot separate them at the moment. Obviously, Keys does have the pace, but he just cannot find a way past Johnson, who's just... I think he has gotten better over this series, Matt. Surely you've seen this growth from Johnston.
Yeah, Johnston's really, I think, just gotten super familiar with the Porsche Cup car there. Managed to hold it together. Had a couple of moments earlier on in the season as we're watching Shen and Baker go wheel to wheel around this outside this turn 10 into 11. The final corners onto the main straight there. Shen manages to get the outside line and actually take all that overspeed. But mind you, Baker braking late there, tucking in tight. Going to get a really good amount of speed here. We're going to see the Ginetta of Baker go for the outside line. Shen defending as far as they can, but we've got a bit of a move, playing some mind games. This is the Ginetta of Baker, but they're going to tuck in tight. No, mind you, the mind games have worked, but they're both running wide, but Shen is going to have to redress and tuck in behind Baker there, try and get as much speed as they can in the McLaren up into the back straight and in a loop. Also known as the bus stop here up the back. What a bit of a move there from Baker, showing the nose, getting rid of the nose, putting it back in place. So we're seeing him go wheel to wheel. Danzo, I can't look away, but I can't watch.
Jensen wants it back. He wants to go too wide. Oh my goodness, redresses, but he might get the drive out, especially as Jensen goes to the dirt there. You can't be doing that, mate. You got to go around the outside every day of the week. You got no grip on that green stuff, mate.
Been watching too many Rondinella replays there, I think, as we go back to Johnson, who manages to continue holding off Keys. Saxon, you'd be familiar with that loop-de, aka Rondinella approach of 2 wheels in the dirt at all times, at every point of the track.
No, that was at a turn. Loopty's known for the straights, you know. I mean, you got to back it though. Big kahunas on the both of them to send it too wide at the bus stop. Wasn't the ideal line off onto the dirt, but I still got to give it to them that they went for it.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic racing there. We're watching these 2 cars of Johnson and Keys. Your favourite battle pack has been going all season long onto the back straight. Keys just dropping back there again, thinking back to Dan's comment earlier. My view of the border collie is Lucas Keys cocking his head, looking for a way around, trying to herd this sheep that is Johnston. Can never tell if he's playing with his food or really pushing hard to try and overtake it. But here he is sitting in tight as they go through the outer loop and down into chute. We're going to follow along from Keys' perspective now. You've got to suck in tight into this left-hander and avoid running too wide on the right. Both cars taking that line pretty much perfectly there. They go up into toe. They're going to brake here around the 150. We know that's a foot mark now, not meters. Try and tuck in close. Try and not lose it as they go here. It becomes off camber up the top. There's just a little bit of concrete, a little bit of tarmac on the left-hand side that you can keep the wheels on to save yourself from spitting out in the dirt. Lucas Keys showing the nose. Paddy Johnson holding strong, managing to tuck into this right-hander up in the heel. I'm losing my place on the track. We're going to turns 9, 10, and 11, which I don't know the name of, but it's a great part of the track as we get up. Oh, there we go. Johnson sliding around the outside. Lucas Keys going to get a bit of a better drive. They're coming into the final 2 turns of this track. 3.5 minutes of racing left. We've got one more right-hander onto the main straight. Johnston trying to use everything of this car, every ounce of grip remaining, and does it well. Sticks it onto the main straight. Guys, this is unbelievable racing here from Johnston as we watch Lucas Keys show the nose. Goodness gracious, Dan, where's your head at?
Oh, mate, this is just great racing as we only have 2 laps left. I don't know who's got to come out on top. All I know is that the people on YouTube here have strapped in something special here if we see Johnston hang on throughout the next 2 minutes and 50 seconds. I don't know. Is Keys got to throw it through the bus stop? No. Tuck him behind. Just keep waiting. Wait for sector 3. That's the time you can strike. Johnson has just been sliding that Porsche car all the way through sector 3 tonight. So I think that's where you got to strike.
Saxon, is he getting it done?
I don't know, Johnson's got to start backing off on his date questions there. He must have stated that he's split the bill type of guy, and that guy just started bucking around on him, which gave Lucas a bit of a look. So, if he can kind of win the date back and keep her in line until the end of the race, I think Paddy Johnson should be able to bring this one home. But don't discount, I still believe, you're calling Lucas a border collie, but I still think he's like that vein-popping, white-knuckled. He's not going to take it lying down. I wouldn't be surprised in that last lap that we see a bit of a stamp licked, and he goes for it at some point.
I think that there's going to be
takes the penalty.
a moment here as they both go wide up there through turn 8 of heel into 9 into 10 coming up. This is such a hard corner to stick the landing on, but they've both done extremely well there. As you said before, Saxon, the buck and booty of the Porsche Cup car of Johnston there. Managing to keep it on as Lucas Keys runs really wide, but manages not to lose traction, which is super important to try and keep as much speed as you possibly can. Neither of them hitting that left wall under the go bowling sign. Any day that you avoid that is a win. As I've just seen the little peepee emoji, which is one of my favourites. I'm weirdly obsessed with this damn little frog. It takes over my entire life and thought path on the back of Johnson's car. Johnson losing traction on the right-hander there of T1. And he's going to look for a way around Dave Stevenson up here under blue flags.
Surely Dave moves over on the straight. Got to let these guys through. Let them race. Let the boys race. That's it, Dave.
Race off. Well done, Davo. Hobbsy sitting there, fist in the air, pumping, thinking I've taught him something. Hobbsy's the real winner.
That's my man.
That's my man. You're my boy, Blue.
Oh my goodness, this is just awesome. 40 seconds left of this race. I don't know who's going to
be the
win.
last lap, I think, now. There's no way that they'll get another one in. They're only halfway around. Surely not. We're coming up. Oh no, Johnston, hold it together. Stay on the track, mate.
Johnston, go late on the brakes, mate.
Wide.
That's it.
Late on the brakes, the GT4 car getting way out of the way there, saying, no thanks, I'm not playing. Johnston sitting there, holding the spot, owning the track, trying to keep all four wheels planted. Just knees weak, mum's spaghetti as Lucas Keys goes for a line on the inside, tucks back in. He knows this is his last opportunity coming up. We're going through heel now. We're coming up into turns 9, 10, and 11. These are so difficult to keep it on. Lucas Keys sitting tight in behind on the bumper, looking at the rear of Johnston's head there through the back of the car and in the helmet. They're going to stay super tight together. Johnston sliding it everywhere. Keys sitting tucked in behind. They only got one turn to go. Johnston takes the inside line, catches a bit of grass. Got to avoid that wall. He's sliding. They both hit it. But he's going to go over the line. He's going to take first place. He's Patrick Johnston. What a man.
If Keys didn't hit the wall there as well, I would have liked to seen that. Oh my goodness. He's let go of the steering wheel. The water damage on that steering wheel is absolutely insane. I swear there is a puddle underneath the sim rig as we see the GT4s coming around. Raschuti has just driven the wheels off this thing the whole time. He's put a 12-second gap on second place over Jensen. Oh, mate, what a race.
Thermaltake, if you are listening, the next wheel that you make is going to have to be IPX 7 rated. Full waterproofing there for the palms of Patrick Johnston. Mate, I completely agree with you, Danzo. He's got to be so sweaty. We were just watching the battle then of William Shen and Zach Baker, who are still coming across the line now. Dave Stevenson finished up there, pulled up under the go bowling sign, celebrating a race well raced, well driven. As Watkins Glen, as we see the flashing lights of Raschuti. Well done, mate. Well held. Great racing.
Hang on. I've seen something on the other screen. I've seen a car that almost rolled.
Oh, here we
Watch
go.
this.
Camaro.
Watch this.
Oh, it has rolled. And we have an upside down Camaro. Watkins Glen. Kick that off your bingo cards, everyone. Anderson's flipped a Camaro.
Wow. And just a huge shout out to everyone on YouTube who's tuned in for this last race of the series and the whole series as we watch Blake Griffiths come across the line there for, I believe, a top 5. That was a really good race. It's just in 12 12th, which is not right. You have to count for me there. 7th or 8th.
Kamara's just pointing out as well. I did call Pepe Pee-Pee. It happened. We're in the throes of everything, mate. Everything's so busy up here. You can't be held liable for anything you say. We've got...
Just a cool...
Go ahead.
Oh, go, you go, Matt. You go.
There's Blake Griffiths doing donuts there to celebrate the victory.
And a quick throw over to Dave we've got in the commentary box. How did you find that race there, Dave?
Guys, that was a little bit crazy, I think. Saw a lot of big names dropping up and down the list as I was looking at what was going on ahead of me. But yeah, silly mistake by me going into the bus stop, just hit the panic brakes and just kept turning right. It was an awesome race. I started to feel the flow of the GT4s late, and yeah, they're so much fun to drive.
Mate, you did such a good job. Saxon was singing your praises and your racecraft as you moved the hell out of the way to let the battling pack of Johnston and Keys go through. You'll watch the replay back later, no doubt, and you'll hear us all singing, cheering, and whooping your song, mate. Well done.
There was absolutely no way I was going to get in the way of those two. I saw them for about 5 laps chasing me down, so no, I got out of the way, but no, it was an awesome night.
Yeah, well done, mate. Really, really well driven here. We're just looking through the leaderboard now of the GT4s. Rashuti, Jensen, Shen held it over Baker. John Foster, Klomp, Blake Griffiths, Benny Vintner finishing mid-pack after that mid-race incident. Busk, Roelpe, Anderson, Lean, Dave Stevo and Nate James after that possible disconnect. And then you already know the Porsches at the top of the leaderboard back there. We had the wonderful Patrick Johnston managing to hold off there. We're going to move into the thermal overtakes of the week. Proudly brought to you by Thermaltake, our lead sponsor. Thanks so much for everything you do to get this series running, guys, and for this wonderful video and the hell of an intro that we've got here. I'm going to kick us off. We're going to go to Saxon, Dan and then Saxon after this. We got Monks coming around the outside of Jasmine, showing how it's done. A bit of a reference to the F1 fans out there. Sticking it on the inside is Monks. We're watching his car now pulling ahead there. The beautiful Thermaltake wing leaves them in the distance. Justman gone behind him.
I love this one. Griffiths and Gamble. I watched this on YouTube and this was just something else. Getting the car around the outside on the Hungaroring. Look at that, late on the brakes from a different postcode and makes it stick. And then where everyone says you cannot overtake, coming into the chicane here, takes all of the curb and gets the move done. Look at that. Brilliant racing. That's my favourite overtake. Again, B. Please vote for B as we go to clip C for Saxon.
Saxon's coming just had to drop out of the chat, so I'll take this one if you want. So McDowell and Stockton, the old switcheroo, says the Thermaltake overtake here. We're going to have a bit of a crisscross applesauce moment. McDowell sitting in hard, the Porsche guy's car. Sitting there, goes a rip there and up the inside, managing to get that track position, playing a couple of mind games there. Manages to stick the landing and drive away with it. Well done, Dylan McDowell and the Porsche guys 2 car. Good work there. Clip C. Now, possibly my favourite one here coming up in just a moment now, Danzo. Don't watch the cars in front. Watch the cars behind. We've got a big send. Licton sent that bloody letter right at the back from Lutey, a.k.a. Rondinella. Rondinella goes through the chicane here at the Hungaroring, straight up and takes the position with force and with pace, real pace. He gets up the inside there and manages to hold it. Well done there, Rondinella over Charitos. Great overtake there. That's my pick of the bunch.
So get your votes in, guys. Is it clip A with Monks and Chosman? Is it clip B with Griffiths and Gamble? Is it clip C with McDowell and Stockton? Or is it clip D with Rondinella and Charitos, Licton, Sent? Guys, get your votes in. Huge thermal overtake from our great sponsors over there. Wow. That is got to be technically the last one of the season because we don't see next week's one as we go into the Kyalami Enduro. Matty, send us out.
Mate, I'm looking forward to this bonus clip. We've got one more coming up just after this little run here. The bonus clip of Rashuti and Johnston. We'll clip to that in a moment. I believe looking at the poll now, we do have Griffiths and Gamble kicking out. 43% of you have said. 50 now have said that's 53. It's climbing as I'm talking. Everyone's saying that's their favourite. That's clip B up there on the right. What a great place to stick the landing. Look at that. Rides over the sausage curb. They say you cannot touch. Danzo, talk us through the bonus clip here of Johnston and Raschuti.
I haven't seen this bonus clip of Johnston and Raschuti, so I'm just a passenger here. I'm sitting and watching as we see this car go up the inside, try to get a park there on the apex and get the move done as they almost make contact. It gives them a bit of room. Oh my goodness, this is some great racing.
Look at that. Into the next turn, going side by side, managing to stick around the outside is Raschuti. Raschuti holding on there in the Ferrari, Dan's favourite car in the entire world, refuses to drive anything else, and this is why. Holds the inside alongside Johnston. They are going neck and neck. They couldn't be any closer coming to this next turn. And then Johnston takes away, runs out of it, but Raschuti sticking in close behind. Unbelievable racing from this last week for our thermal overtake of the week. Thank you, everyone. Current update on the numbers. We pretty much got a dead tie between Ron Danella and Chad Ross and Monk's Adjustment for second place. We've got Griffiths and Gamble coming in. 56% of you said that was the best overtake of the week. Thank you, everyone, for dialing into your Thermaltake GT4 and Porsche Cup cars. It's been an absolute pleasure riding through this entire season with you. Huge shout out to Dave Stevenson, who drove tonight. Massive thanks to my brother over there from the States dialing in for us tonight for carrying the mahalo, says Dan, which is thank you in Hawaiian. Mate, thanks so much for carrying the rest of the season. Benny Hignett, thank you so much for all the camera work you do, but unfortunately the night is not over for you as we transition over to the Sprint Series race for the night. Massive thanks to Thermaltake. Stick around and watch the next race. There's going to be some unbelievable content, but we've just seen an incredible win come through from Patrick Johnston there, holding off on Keys, and Raschuti taking the win for the GT4. I have been Matt Madden. Again, we've had Saxon Hayes and Dan Madden in the chat with me. Thank you so much, everyone, for dialing in for an awesome season, and we'll see you next one.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Thermaltake Sprint Series final round here of Season 22 at the one and only Monza racetrack. I'm joined here tonight by Neil Haynes. How are you, Neil?
Going really good, thanks, Aidan.
Good, good. So we got an interesting night of racing ahead of us. It's going to be a 1 hour, one mandatory pit stop for tyres as well. That is the only requirements for this race, so just make sure you change your tyres. You can choose to obviously fuel the whole length of the race and pit on the last lap for those tyres, or you can take the faster option in theory, which is to pit at halfway. But obviously there are things like traffic and other factors that you have to take into account when planning for these sorts of races, so it'll be interesting to see what the drivers come up with.
Yeah, definitely. We saw that last week as well. There was a bit of different strategies where people were trying to get out of the traffic. Obviously, the track a lot harder to overtake last week compared to where it is we are tonight for 5.7 kilometres around the Temple of Speed at Monza. What a beautiful track we are going to finish this series on.
Yeah, definitely. There's some close battles going on in the championship now. I'm sure we are all probably aware that Lucas is way out in the lead of this one, but there are some battles going on within each class, such as the Breno Ellis and Stefano Rasciuti battle for, I believe it's P3 in the Pro Championship, and also there's a silver battle between Tim Goeb and Pete Chalmers as well. So. And also some battles in the Pro-Am title as well. So all these drivers have got something to fight for. They've all showed up ready to rock and roll here at Monza as we look on board with Tim Goeb out the back wing of that Mustang. What a massive rear wing on these things as well. It looks awesome in my opinion. He's got the Porsche of, I believe that is Chalmers possibly behind, or Viney. I'm not sure if the time table is exactly correct. I think it's Chalmers, but there we go, Breno Ellis across the line, but quickly dropped down the positions by Nathan Monks and Gabriel Salvaggio. So Monks leading the way so far. I think he's been doing a bit of practice for this one. I've seen him in the practice server a few times, so he's definitely put his work in, as has Patrick Johnson in this Bentley. The Bentley, quite a quick car here, as I found out last night driving it myself. So we'll see what Johnson can do, and he just slots in right behind Monks and Salvaggio with a very, very small gap in between those guys.
Yeah, I think he's just fresh from taking victory at Watkins Glen in the Porsche Cup race as well. So him and Keys had a fantastic battle right down to the end. But getting back to the Pro-Am battle for the championship, I believe we've got a drop round that the have to go through after all the results are done tonight. But Rosser and Scotty Rochford is basically tied for points in the Pro-Am. So we'll definitely keep an eye on those two in the Pro-Am battle here at Monza. So they're tied equally and not too far away. 13 points behind is our mate Jasmine, who we've seen up and down throughout this championship. But currently Rosser is in position 18 in qualifying. We'll see how that all pans out with 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining.
Yeah, so it's P2 for Ellis and Rasciuti that they will be fighting over this race. As we see Johnson coming into the Ascari chicane, there is a yellow flag at the end. He's got a bit of slide on entry, which will compromise his run quite badly. There is still a yellow flag. I think that was the Porsche of Chalmers, so possibly a little bit of a Porsche moment out the back of that chicane. And Taufik as well, I think, also has some people quite close for comfort in the point standing, so he's also got something to fight for, as I believe he has
Patrick
missed
Johnson, I
one or
believe.
two. Yeah, Patrick Johnson, yeah, thanks for reminding me. As here he is, he crosses the line and goes fastest. So I think Johnson can get a bit more time. I've seen him do some quicker laps, as well as Monks and Breno. I've definitely seen them pump out some quicker times. So towards the end of the session, when these guys get onto really low fuels levels, they should start getting a bit quicker. But obviously with the lower fuel comes a less stable car sometimes, and it can be really difficult to just, even though this track seems relatively simple on the surface, when you really start pushing for that time, you do have to be very, very precise. As we see the Porsche of Carl Johnson, he is half a second up, but had a bit of a moment through Lesmo 2. So he heads into the Ascari chicane now. Mount this curb on the inside if you're brave. He doesn't do that, but he sticks to the line, gets a bit of a snap of oversteer mid-corner, and that's going to harm his exit. So he's dropped that from half a second now to 3.5 tenths. Just shows how precise you have to be through this lap. As we look at Salvaggio again, the McLaren, quite a strong car, and he's getting a big slipstream from Nathan Monks here. That might help him in his quest for pole if he can get it. We've seen quite a few McLarens up pretty high over the last few races here, I should say. And he's going to jump to the top with a 46.8, which is a pretty good time, especially for a silver. But having raced Salvaggio before, I think he's right on the cusp of, being a silver, aka pro. So he's very good at what he's doing.
Yeah, he could be getting promoted for the next series, but yeah, obviously see how he goes tonight. It's outstanding to see a silver up there in P1 at the moment, and registration starting very shortly as well for the new sprint series too, so make sure you stay tuned to OOR on their Discord and make sure you don't miss out. And also congratulations for the thermal overtake for Griffins at Gamble, which was clip B. Outstanding overtake that was. He just sent it last round, and 52% of the viewers voted for that, Aiden, so clear winner.
Yeah, well done for Blake. I think that was the one I voted for out of the options. It was a good move around the outside. As we look on board with Rossa again, so quite a few Pro-Ams in this sort of P12 and below, sitting in this sort of zone. As we look at Pete Chalmers, who is not invalid, I don't think. I think that's just the pit exit glitch, but he is bleeding a bit of time down this back straight. So yeah, if Chalmers wants to be able to get that position over Gobby in the championship, he's going to have to put a little bit more together, I think, because Gobby's looked fairly strong, as Chalmers may be having some internet issues as we saw him just momentarily teleport back to the pits, but he's going to continue on half a second up. This will get him close to Gobby's time, but not quite above it, I think. I think Gobby did a 47.5 or something. So Chalmers hugging that nice inside line for the Parabolica. Is he going to bring it into the end? Not right yet. He does. To take that shortest line to the finish line, so you can get the least possible time. And slots in right behind Tim Goeb. So Tim Goeb under a little bit of pressure here. I've seen him go a little bit quicker than what he's doing now in the practice server. So I think he might have a little bit left in the tank, but we're entering the last 2 minutes of quali, so for some of these drivers, they're going to have this lap and one more, and then for others that time it a bit better, they might have the option for more.
Yeah, Monks was obviously featured in clip A of the thermal overtake too, so we'll see what he can do in the Aston. But I think Carl Johnson as well, who's currently leading that silver championship coming into this final round, he's part of Kovacs as well as Pete Chalmers. Would I be correct in saying that, Aiden?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think Johnson's got the Kovacs. He's Kovacs. I don't know if he's Kovacs white, because they all have different colours for their Porsches.
Gotcha.
Like Chalmers is green. I think Viney is blue. So yeah, there's different cars. I haven't seen what colour Johnson specifically has. I would guess it's white, because it is white, and we've just seen car 777 has been disqualified by race control, so
that's Lucas here. Muggs looks like he may just be getting onto pole position here if he can continue on. He's just petering. It's going to be close here, Aiden. Can he keep it going? It's going to be close. He does take pole position with less than a minute to go.
Oh, Johnson's up though. Johnson might have him here. As long as he can nail this corner, which I will admit is the most difficult corner on the track for the Bentley, at least in my experience, he can steal pole as he gets a good drive off the exit. That's exactly what he wants. He's 3/10s up. He's going to beat this pole time by just over a tenth here. So yeah, 1.5 tenths, in fact, goes to a 46.6, which is kind of the pace I would expect from Johnson after seeing some of the laps he's done. And Monks has gone back to pits, so he doesn't have enough fuel for the next one. Now it's just down to Salvaggio, who's timed this pretty much perfectly. So he's going to cross the line with only, 15 seconds left in the session, which means he's going to have arguably the most grippiest, most, fast track out of all the competitors here, as Taufik also crosses the line with just over 5 seconds to go. So these guys, if they can nail the lap, they could have something pretty big here, as well as Breno, who's a little bit further down the order, struggling in that Audi a bit. I don't think the Audi is really the best car here. It's okay from what he said, but it's not really like the Bentley or the McLaren. As we see, Johnson again just lost a little bit of time, but that Delta is still green. Gets a little bit of a slide on through Les Moto, but keeps the momentum up, which is what you need. As he's going to head into Ascari now with, I believe that's Pete Chalmers right in front of him, and the Kovacs green Porsche. He's going to hit the brakes, eat that curb on the inside, nice. Now get it over to the right, over those little tiny sausage curbs. Don't eat too much on the exit, and he has gone through. We do cut to see, that's Salvaggio,
Yeah,
possibly invalidating. I think that's invalid from memory. He might not be.
Even if it wasn't, you'd think he would have cost him a bit of time out there. But it looks like Johnson's almost going to equal his best time. He's just flicking around on grey and green, and he's just trying to get that little bit closer to shortcut it. But what a close time that was last lap. Not quite the same as his best lap that we saw previously. But I think there's maybe one or two more drivers, but not too sure if anyone's on a better time. To Feek, you have to pull something out of the hat here around the final parabolic corner, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, Taufik down a bit. And just going back quickly to Lucas, obviously he's wrapped up the championship, but he was sitting in like P6 or 7, and then he's gotten disqualified from quali. So I'm not sure if that was intentional, and there's no way to really know, but you don't really get disqualified from quali over nothing. So that is a little bit strange. We'll have to see if he's sitting here at the back of the grid. Maybe he's just done it to try start from the back, but still. Anyway.
Well done to Monks, the second. I'm going to share the front row in that Aston Martin, so that's an absolutely sensational job, as also for the McLaren in third position. So
definitely. Yep, so Johnson taking out the pole position in that Bentley, which looks to be very strong, followed by Monks and Salvaggio, like you said, Taufik and Ellis and Rashudi. So Ellis and Rashudi, the two guys battling for P2 in the Pro Championship, are right next to each other for this start. Obviously, then there's Johnson, which we can just see on the left in that Kovacs. I'm just going to call it Kovacs white Porsche because it's mostly white. Then there's Safik on the right in the Ferrari, followed by Zach Warren in the 222 blue and green Porsche on the left. Tim Goab and Pete Chalmers on this, not the same row quite, but pretty much right next to each other. So they are going to be battling this whole race, I reckon. Chalmers in that Kovacs green Porsche, as well as Nurasan in P12. That's a good effort from a AM driver.
I was going to say that, Nurasan, awesome job for the Mercedes to be up in, what is he, just knocking on top 12, actually. So well done to him.
Yeah, definitely. If he can survive this race, he'll get a boatload of points. Maybe if Rosser has a bad race, he might be somewhere near to him in the championship, but I haven't quite checked that part yet. But anyway.
Yeah, there's a big points difference there, depending on what the drop round's going to do between those two. But I think it could be a long shot, to be honest. But it's a big grid here tonight, which is great to see for the final round, seeing everyone come out in strength. And we're going to see if we do see that 777 of Lucas Keys in the
I think I see it down the back on the left. I'm squinting, but I do see a suspiciously GTR-shaped object down the back left.
Yeah, I was going to say too, it's going to be interesting to see if we're actually going to see some more Audis in the next season, after seeing what Ellis has been able to do and some of the other guys in the other splits as well for this Thermaltake Sprint Series. So It's a car that doesn't get much love. It's good to see it on track, as is this Honda in this Gym Jams, not my Gym Jams anymore. Like I opened up this season, I think Aiden saying they look like my Gym Jams, but after seeing what's actually on there, not quite.
Yeah, and then we just got a lovely optical illusion Porsche of, I think that's Murphy if it's the 101, I'm not sure though.
Yeah, it is. It's Chris Murphy.
Yeah, so there is Lucas Keys down the back, and Chuff is telling me in the chat that the Lucas Keys was intentional, so he obviously wants to start it from the back. Maybe he's forgotten that this isn't Fruit Bowl, but yeah, he's going to start it from the back, see where he can get, obviously. Lucas.
Well, that's how he started the season. I don't know if you can remember. He started the season at the very back of the grid and came up into second position or third position, I think it was.
I can believe that.
So, just probably trying to repeat himself here, and so well, I started that way, we'll finish it that way.
Yeah, definitely. As they head out down the second straight towards the second chicane, warming their tyres and brakes. So it'll be interesting to see the jump between the Aston and the Bentley. Last night I got a mega start in the Bentley, so it's pretty good off the line as long as you kind of launch it correctly. So I think Monks might have a little bit of trouble trying to get around him, at least before turn 1. And he's also got the McLaren behind him, which once it gets going is actually quite quick, especially here.
Yeah.
Although the Aston no slouch either, so I think it'll be pretty
unlucky. I was going to say unlucky last night, Aiden, almost getting that elusive win, but it'll come for sure for the sprint series, the elusive win. But a lot of drivers on double duty. If it's not backing up and jumping in the commentary booth, we've seen drivers backing up in the different series as well, as we saw earlier tonight with some of the quite a few drivers actually in the Porsche Cup and the GT4 race at Watkins Glen backing up tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm always happy to hop in the box when needed, and don't mind doing a bit of double duty because after all, it is volunteers that keep OOR going. So make sure to thank Glen or Matt or any of the guys in charge for their efforts, because definitely does have a price, whether that be monetary or physical or mental. So yeah, I mean, I encourage everyone to volunteer and try to help out a little bit if you can. But they're going to head through the Parabolica now and line up over your grid boxes, everybody. Cough, cough. Make sure you're on those grid boxes, because you don't want to be getting a 5-second penalty, especially if you're on the front row. But you can take them away, Neil, once they cross the line.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see them all get through the opening chicane. As we see in Monza, a lot of the drivers, the first few probably will get through nicely. It's the mid-pack that we always like to see. See if they can keep it clean. But obviously Monks is the man that's going to try and get a run if he can. And probably challenge Johnson around the outside. We'll get probably a long drag before we hit the start-finish line to get them underway. And it looks like we've got the green flag now, and Monks I thought he had a bit of a jump at the outside, but look at Ellis behind in the Audi. He's going to make it probably 3, possibly
almost 4.
He wants to make it that way.
Oh,
and
it's tight.
There's a few bumps going on as they're trying to get through here, and there's a spin.
Oh,
Chalmers.
That's Chalmers' turn, and Rashudi's also turned. Oh, it's that might be a safety car. I have a feeling.
I just thought that Porsche then trying to get going, and the other car gets in around as well. The awareness wasn't quite there and allowed him into the driver's door, but safety car. Every time that you got me to call the start, like I did last week, we have a safety car. So,
maybe I should do that every time, huh?
No, I don't know. Sure I start talking the driver up, and next thing you know, they're spinning off into the grass, and now whenever I call the start, there's a safety car. So.
Yeah, it was quite tight. There was a bit of rubbing going on between Ellis and Salvaggio, and we're going to get a replay here. So we're looking at Gobby, I think, and Chalmers as well. So Jusman gets a ping from the rear, which sends him into Chalmers, and then Chalmers just kind of innocently there. But I I want to just see what happened to Rashuti, because he was quite far up the grid, especially compared to those guys. So he's definitely been knocked down quite a few positions. As we're going to see Rashuti on the very outside here, taking it a little bit cautiously as he sees kind of what's going on. Okay, so he checks up to not run into the back of Carl, and then Safik, yeah, just gets into the back of him. Obviously, turn 1 very congested. Yeah, and that's definitely shaken up a lot of the positions. We've got Nurasan into P7 as the safety car is coming in this lap, and Rosser into P8. So those are 2 guys that have made pretty big gains, but we're yet to see if any of them have penalties, because I have a feeling there will be quite a few from what just happened, as we're going to see him on board of Pete Chalmers. So I think what's going to happen here is everything's going to look kind of okay, and then you're just going to see bonk, bonk, bonk. There we go, into the back. And unfortunately for Chalmers, there is quite literally nothing you can do at that point. You just have to sit there and wait.
Yeah, exactly. And when people obviously bump into the back and then pushing other cars on, it's very hard. Just point the blame to the car just behind, because he's getting bumped behind as well. So it's a tough one. But here we go. We're back on back starting for lap 3, and we're back on to the start straight to start this race. And Monk's trying to get that slipstream, and we've got Savaggio obviously in 3rd position. They're all spaced out this time, but Ellis is trying to have a look. Hard on the brakes, but being able to pull it up, which has been good to see. And we'll see how they all filter through here. We've got obviously Nurasan having a battle with Rosser, because Rosser's been able to overtake him off the restart.
Yeah, Rosser's showing some good pace. I'm surprised he hasn't been put up to Pro-Am. I highly think he will be for next season, but Nurasan is right on the back of him. It's a very difficult place to overtake into this 2nd chicane, as there's not much room to fit 2 cars. But yeah, Rosser kind of through, and already maybe going to try and pull a gap, as we see Ellis in the group that survived turn 1, but I don't think he's gained anything. I think this is kind of where he started, although he did gain the fact that his championship rival did unfortunately get turned. And Salvaggio now right on the back of Monks. That McLaren also no slouch, especially in the toe around here. So
I'm going to just say that he was actually really gaining on the Aston, and the Aston's got a little bit of get up and go as well. So yeah, the McLaren, no slouch at all, and helping Salvaggio here. Gets a good exit out of the Ascari chicane. Now, if he can get this corner through without getting too much aero wash and get a good run, but it looks like that Aston's just showing its mid-corner pace.
Yeah, well, the McLaren's got quite good top end, especially in the toe and stuff. It's just the brakes are kind of made of wood, so even if you can get alongside someone, it's then also made a little bit more difficult in the braking phase. But this is all obviously allowing Patrick Johnson to just extend his lead a bit, and I don't think he's won a race this season due to there being, the usual characters up the front, like Lucas and Brady. So it'll be nice if Patrick can get a win for the Bentley this round, as obviously I couldn't get mine last night. As we're looking on board, that is a hip and shoulder from the Ferrari. I think it's a fake, and unfortunately that does look pretty bad. So I think maybe another penalty possibly coming from that Ferrari, because they were part of that turn 1 incident. So that would be quite unfortunate for them, as they did start in the top 10 or roundabout there. But yeah, I think that Porsche might have been Rochefort. I'm not sure exactly who it was, but I'm seeing another replay here of the Nissan being, Vortex.
A bit over-ambitious, I think.
Yeah, a bit over-ambitious from them.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Chalmers maybe just getting a bit of target fixation there and almost joining him in the sand trap.
So here we go, back to live footage here with Ellis trying to just keep Cole Johnson at bay in that Porsche. at this stage, but Ellis will probably just want to try and get himself into a groove, see if he can slowly start reeling Tafiq that's in front of him. But on board here, Niras Isan, who's dropped away a little bit from Rosser at this stage, and now he's getting a lot of pressure from Go behind him.
Yeah, I have also noticed actually the KFC Ford is Brady Adderton, so he has returned for the final round of the race, but I do think he started from the back, and we're seeing Lucas Keys in already, so he's going to try and get his stop done early as Gobby potentially looks for a move on Nurasan. The Mustang having a bit more legs than the Mercedes, but not able to get it done under braking, at least for now. But I reckon that Mustang probably pestered this Mercedes quite a bit over the few laps. Even with the restrictor in the tow, it's still not that slow. So we'll see Goab trying to fake Nurasan out and try to make him go offline and play some mind games with him. As Nurasan gets a bit of that inside chicane, gets a bit of a bounce, but keeps it going. Yeah, Gobby, I think he's gained positions. I'm not exactly sure, but Zach Warren definitely has gained a few positions off that start.
Yeah, so this is where they try and unsettle a few drivers too, coming in the second Lesmo sometimes as well. And if they can get their competitor run that little bit wide, maybe knock up bounce off the grass on the exit, and try and get a move done down the inside, as Brady looks to be doing exactly like that to O'Brien, and looks like he's been able to get that done. And he's probably done that plenty of times in his career as well. Brady, great driver.
Yeah, definitely. That disconnect he had at Bathurst was rather unfortunate because he was leading the races. That is the 99, I believe, around at Ascari. That would be Igor Zavaka, I think. Maybe has gotten Porsche on the exit or has been assisted in that. Fortunate for Igor. As we look with Tim Goab again. So actually Zach Warren has lost the position since the start. I just double checked. So he has maybe stayed out of the carnage, but he has still dropped one position, as we're seeing. Is this Igor here? Or the Mercedes just giving him a... Oh, sorry, BMW. What am I saying? Yeah. BMW's just giving him a nice little see you later on the entry, which definitely hasn't helped his case. Also the Porsche being quite rear weight biased, yeah, so
that's exactly
starts
right.
rotating. Once it starts rotating, it's not coming back.
No. And this is what we could just see in the background, that previous shot, so it's great to see the camera work straight on it, and it's Breno putting a lot of pressure on the Ferrari in front, and these guys, and obviously Ellis will probably want to try and get that move done sooner than later so he can try and reel in Salvaggio in front in that McLaren, because I think Tafiq may have just had a few little slow laps because Ellis has really climbed on the back of him since we've seen him last time.
Yeah, definitely. Johnson also not far off the back of Ellis, and obviously Rosser also not too far off the back of him. So this could become a train if Taufik starts being a little bit of a cork in the bottle here. And Monza is pretty, does lend itself to trains, obviously, due to the long sort of straights all over the track, as we're seeing Jusman getting overtaken by Adderton, on the inside of Parabolica. Now we should see a top speed sort of indication here between the McLaren and the Ford, or never mind, I think the McLaren's just backed off there and just let Brady go, as he might realise that Brady is a little bit quicker at the current moment. So Brady also starting second last. Yeah, so that's Rochford and Sam O'Brien going at it. O'Brien holds the inside, Rochford stays on the outside, get quite an equal drive, although the Porsche seems to have that initial acceleration a bit better. Safiq's just sitting here waiting for an opportunity. He's going to try draft the Porsche down the inside, but do kind of rapidly run out of road here, especially into this braking zone. So it's going to be close between the two Ferraris. They head into the second chicane. Sam O'Brien holds the inside. There's a bit of door banging.
Oh, that was always possibly going to happen there. Yeah, you just see how he had to check up.
Yeah. So Chris Murphy, I think the loser out of that one, just having to check up and also running into the back of Safik, as Safik had to just slow down. Oh, there's some more contact as they head through the Lesmos. That's a little bit strange there, just bumping into each other. So Safik losing another position, and now Ben Curtis is right on the back of Safik. So a little bit of a nightmare for Safik in this start, as yeah, we see the Ferrari and McLaren just having a bit of a door bang, and Chris Murphy just, oh my gosh, I want to see that onboard from that. He just made that without contact.
Yeah, that was a strong move, wasn't it? And committed. So that's what you need to do sometimes. You just got to be committed. If you sort of second guess, that's where you can obviously then run into someone because you're going to compromise yourself. But Chris Murphy looked like he just was confident. He just sent it and made sure he had that nice top on. As he said, got away without any contact.
Here it is.
Oh, and some opposite lock as well to contend with. Awesome job.
Yeah,
that could be a thermal overtake, but I don't know if we're going to have one because we don't have another round. But maybe might pop up during the enduros or something like that. Coming up to Kailami by now.
Yeah, that is true. Kailami 9 hour, not too far away. So if you haven't signed up, make sure you do. Get those entries in, as we're seeing finally being chased down by Zach Jensen and Lamborghini just eating that inside curve. Wow, out of all the cars to do that, I didn't really expect the Lambo to be able to do it, but he's made it work. As this is for P11. Zach Jensen just sitting on the back of Viney. I think Viney had a bit of trouble on the start, possibly. But there's been quite a lot of movement up and down through the field as Adderton is getting close to these guys as well, or I suspect he will be pretty soon. And I don't see Lucas Keys here anywhere, which is a little bit strange because I would expect Lucas to be quite far up the grid already.
Yeah, he did make that early pit stop. I think he called that, so maybe.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Some, software issues or something. I don't know how many people are actually here, but we've obviously got 23 on the totem pole here, but could be a few extras.
Yeah, no, I see him on the map. I just totally forgot about that first lap pit, or roughly first lap pit, as Zach Jensen gets a big slide on the exit of Parabolica, and it's almost contact. And now this is going to be a drag race between two mopeds, basically. Two of the slowest cars on the straight. The Lambo versus the Porsche. Side by side into turn one. The Lambo does brake significantly later. Is he going to make the corner? Yes, he does. Yep, so Jensen, two Zachs in this split. I keep getting them confused. Jensen has made the overtake. As we see Warren and Goeb here. Warren in the full slipstream, so he's getting a nice run here against Goeb. Goeb not defending, interestingly. He's going to hold that outside line. Oh, that's a bit of contact. Goeb's going to have to take the escape road. It'll be interesting to see what the stewards think of that one, as Michael Rosser does get a 15-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 1. That is not the Rosser, that's in P7 though, so that won't affect his race so far, as he's still in P7. And now Brady Adderton right on the back of Pete Viney.
Yeah, so Calum Rosser is the man I think we're talking about that's obviously in P7 at the moment and currently leading that AM championship.
Oh wow, that's a big moment for Viney, and Adderton just flies straight through. Able to just take that position. And yeah, Lucas is, I'm just looking at the track map, he's just kind of lapping by himself, so he's going to try and make up all of his time through this sort of stint. Yeah, sort of hot lapping, which I guess Lucas is pretty good at. As we see Gabriel Salvaggio getting closer to Nathan Monks sort of every lap, but not quite able to execute the pass. As yeah, he's just probably just struggling a little bit with finding a suitable place to overtake. As we see Brady's on board here, so I think Viney gets a little bit of, or he gets in that tram track on that inside the curb, and the car just gets hooked around. you can use it to your advantage on some cars, but you got to really be careful. I don't think the Porsche or the Audi really like it very much. So once they get in that sort of curve, the curb sort of dip, they just start to get very unhappy. And I've just seen in the background, Brady's got past the Lamborghini as well. As we're seeing a replay, Lamborghini versus Mustang on the straight. If this was a few months ago, this would have probably been done and dusted before they even got to this point on the straight. But thought a little bit slower with the restrictor now, but still able to pretty much fully pass the Lambo down the straight and just, yeah, pretty easily getting the move done. I think Jensen understood that Brady is not in the same class as him, and he really shouldn't waste his time trying to find it. As we see Nurasan now back. Oh no, that's going to be... Was that contact?
Oh,
I think that was contact. So Nurasan has bumped into the back of Rosser, but Ross somehow held it and kept going. But that has just dropped Nurasan through the field, as he can't really get moving again through that part of the track. As he's kind of Sebastian Vettel himself, if anyone remembers. Seb Vettel did that quite a few years ago at Ferrari.
Yeah, and the penalty that we just saw pop up there is not what Salvaggio would like to see, because that's going to possibly lose him position 3 on the podium as this race unfolds. It just depends on his pace.
Taufik is 4.8 behind, so if Salvaggio can keep lapping, there is a chance. It might be close on the pit exit, if the pit is anytime soon, but honestly, with Salvaggio's pace, he definitely has an opportunity to outdrive this penalty, at least I think, so long as Taufik doesn't manage to start pulling back this gap as well. Salvaggio kind of getting towed around by Nathan Monks, and Patrick Johnson's already got a 3-second gap to these guys, as there he is off in front. So we're going to see a replay here of Nurasan. I thought I saw contact, but it was very close. So Nurasan braking just a touch late. Yeah, so there's contact, but in typical sort of weird ACC fashion, Nurasan is the one that gets spun instead of Rosser, which is very counterintuitive, but that's sometimes how it works in ACC. So we get a Ascari replay from Chalmers, I believe this is. So he's... Oh, that is so unlucky. So he's had to... I think he's seen that Mercedes and reacted to it and gone a little bit too much. And once you get a little bit too far over to the right on those curbs, your splitter gets like caught underneath the curbs, and you just get that sort of bunny hop that we saw. And then once you hit the ground, the ACC dampers do their thing. It's basically over. So you just get spun around.
Yeah, so Safiki's looks like he's got the 5-second penalty for that unsafe rejoin. And it's just getting a little bit very busy at the back of that little train that we were just seeing there. But we're on having a look at...
Oh, big snap for Brady on the sort of mid part of Ascari. Quite easy to do on low TC in the Ford. You've got to be so careful on the accelerator through there. And Gobby holds on for another day, so Addison's going to have to get past Jensen again, as we see Chris Murphy, who is behind Pete Viney. The timing table says that Rochford should be there, but I'm guessing he's been overtaken by Murphy. There we go, it's updated now. So Murphy also starting pretty much from the back up to P14 so far. Just looking for a way past what I think is basically his teammate, because they're all 3 of these cars are in Kovacs, the Kovacs blue and the Kovacs purple Porsche as well, followed by that absolutely just horrible livery from Murphy there. It is called My Eyes, so I guess I'll have to give him credit for being self-aware.
So just behind Chris as well is obviously Scotty Rochford, who at this stage, if he keeps doing what he's doing, he should take out the Pro-Am Championship over Michael Rosser, who we did see have that 15-second penalty too still to serve. So that's going to drop Rosser down the order a big way. So Rochford, he just needs to keep it clean and come away with a Thermaltake Pro-Am Championship.
Yeah, definitely.
Provisionally.
Yeah, of course. There is the drop round as well, so don't forget that part. But Chris Murphy making his way up past Viney behind him. Now on the back of Jusman in the McLaren, who's also got Jensen in front, and Adderton has gone back past, so Adderton will have another go at getting past Goeb in the next few laps, I presume. And the other thing is, these penalties before the end of the race before your pit stop do hurt you quite a bit, because you have to serve that penalty as in your box as Chris Murphy looks for a move into the second chicane. I think Jusman's just going to let this one go, as it's quite hard to defend from that sort of move. Although he has got a better run, he might try to stick it up the inside here. This is brave. Murphy just holds that speed around the outside, as it is quite a long sweeping corner, and that's going to leave Jusman potentially vulnerable to Viney over the next few corners. But I think Jusman's got it back together as we see Zach Jensen here. I hope nothing sad happens to the Lambo. Or splitter caught again. Yep, so when you drive over those curbs on the right, the little sausages, you got to make sure that they don't go further than directly in the middle of your car, because then your splitter gets caught on them and you get launched in the air, like exactly what happened. But like I was saying, for the penalties, you really don't want to be getting a penalty before your pit stop, because you have to serve it in your pit stop or while you're doing it, and then as a result of that you might have to battle more people, whereas obviously when you get it at the end or towards the second half, you can just drive as long as you're not in traffic. So that's going to hurt for these guys who have the 15 seconds now, as they're going to get dropped further down with those penalties, particularly Salvaggio. But he does have almost a 1 second gap over Taufik if he was to pit now, and that gap potentially going to keep going up as he keeps lapping, as he does seem to have a decent pace advantage on Taufik at the moment.
Yeah, he sure does, and he's making sure that he's just keeping that 5 second, or he's extending that gap to nullify that penalty. But here we go in the behind with Viney and Rochford, I think it is, going to have a big battle, probably all the way till they have to have a pit stop, I'd say. So Brady's going to pick up a little 5 second delay as well. I think a lot went on
starting
in that opening part of that race.
Yeah, generally when it's worded like infraction, it's probably something to do with the start. But Ellis here getting even close to the back of Taufik, who's dropping quite quickly now off the back of Salvaggio. So Taufik struggling a little bit in that Ferrari. He has won here in the past, I think. Or no, maybe that's when he forgot to pit, but
too sure.
Yeah, no, definitely an experienced driver here. Maybe the Ferrari just not quite doing it for him at the moment. As Brady Adderton now getting close to the back of Tim Goeb. It's going to be forward versus forward down the main straight. He will be firmly within slipstream range at about 3/10 or so. The timing board shows us. This will give us a chance to see what the difference of the toe is like, especially as they get towards the end of the straight. You can see now Brady just pulling onto the back of Gobby. Gobby potentially just letting this one go as well. Knows that Brady definitely knows what he's doing, and he will lose more time trying to hold Brady up than if he just lets him through. So Gobby just wants to potentially consolidate second place in the championship. Obviously Carl leading it by quite a margin, and currently holding that right now as he is in P6.
Yeah, you'd have to have a miracle, I think, for anything to change there for him, but he'll keep trying, see what he can do.
Yeah, the 6:30 penalty for Brady Adderton was for overtaking someone before the start line. So
gotcha.
Yeah, as Breno Ellis looking for a move into Ascari, it's not quite going to work out for him. But he's taken that Ascari line pretty well. I've seen him struggle a few times with getting that Audi through there, as Zach Warren also gets an infraction for lap 1. So possibly another overtake before they reach the start line for Zach Warren. So that's going to be a little bit of a nuisance to him as well. As Breno gets now right onto the back of the Ferrari, he's, according to the timing board, he does have a 1/10 gap, but it doesn't look like that to me. I'd say that's about 3/10, so maybe a little bit too far to go for it on this start. There we go, 4/10 as they cross the line, but he's edging closer, and all he really needs from Taufik is a decent sized mistake. He's going to show the nose here, just try to put Taufik off, but Taufik obviously a very experienced operator, especially in that Ferrari. So he's going to just maintain his composure for now. But remember, all this between these two guys is letting Salvaggio get away with that 5-second penalty to potentially finish on the podium, which would be a good effort from the silver driver.
Oh, definitely. Outstanding. At this stage, we're not quite halfway yet, but Ellis now really starting to put the pressure on. And let's see if he can hit the afterburners and get this Audi a little bit of a extra pace in the slipstream.
Well, from what I heard, the Audi has to run fairly high wing here because on lower wings it is quite difficult to control, especially through Ascari. So I think Breno's going to be running possibly a higher wing than Taufik, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult for him to pass. But he's going to do his best, I can tell you that.
Yeah, he's bounced over the curb, so obviously that downforce is really sucking that car down onto the ground, and he's making sure that the car's been pushed down once he hits those curbs and not going to be taken off like we have seen some of those cars already do. But yeah, as you said, well, if he's struggling with that extra wing, it's going to be hard on these long straights. But we did see in the toe before he came into the opening chicane.
I was just going to say,
like before.
I saw the 833 yellow flagged on the back half of the course, possibly a Lesmo 2 spin if I had to be a betting man. Yep, right. There it is. Very easy to do, Lesmo 2. That is the KA Motorsports BMW. So not going too well for him as we cut back to Breno Ellis and the OnlyFans Audi chasing after Taufik here. The gap's still pretty close. Might be able to do something into the second chicane, but he'll have to be fully alongside if he wants to commit to it. He's definitely going to show the nose here as he's right on the back of Taufik. Taufik goes defense to the inside. Breno's going to try break late and hold his position around the outside. So he gets the inside for the next part of the corner, and there's been contact. Ellis is going to drive past, so he clearly thinks that he did no wrong there. That'll definitely get referred to the stewards though. As he was on the outside, but as we've seen a few times in this race, there's just not enough space through that part of the track for both cars to take it really efficiently, as Tim Goab gets a 5-second penalty for jumping the start. So we're still getting penalties from the start sort of process here, which is pretty interesting, seeing as we're 30 minutes into the race basically. So Ellis gets through on Taufik, but maybe some steward intervention. I guess we'll have to wait for the race control message or for them to let us know in the chat. As Chris Murphy up into P11 in that Porsche. Oh, that is a big slide, but he's caught it, luckily. So we get a nice little
slow-mo.
Another jump start penalty. So half the grid at this point. Oh my God. So that, I think, is another splitter catch for that Lambo. Just getting too greedy on that right-hand side of the curb, and yeah, just launches the car.
Good was that slow-mo, though. That was an awesome footage of seeing that Lamborghini come nose down. I thought he was on a rally stage for a section there.
Yeah, definitely. So more penalties being handed out for the start. So Safik up to a 20-second penalty. That's going to definitely dampen his spirits as he heads into the pits now. So that's a 15 plus the 5-second for the start infraction. But yeah, I'm pretty surprised we're still getting start infraction penalties over halfway through. So clearly quite a lot went on there that maybe wasn't quite caught.
Yeah, that might have been the reason why we actually did see some obviously problems as well, where cars out of position and coming into that braking area and, maybe not holding position as they should, but wait and see. But obviously they're probably getting through all that the footage, the stewards of the opening lap, there would have been a lot to dissect. So I'm sure that they're now probably having a breather, but they're going to have a look at that one, possibly from Breno with that overtake. It's going to be interesting, but obviously Breno's going to say, well, he's going to run now, because if he's going to get a penalty, he may as well try and get a gap on Tafiq and see how that plays out at the end. So possibly what he should be doing, though, as you said before, Aiden, is pit now. So then if he did get a penalty, as he said, you don't have to serve that in the pit lane, and then possibly then
which he might be doing now. So you've just predicted that perfectly, almost, really. So he's come in to serve his pit stop at just over halfway through, so 2 minutes past halfway. He knows that maybe there's an invoice on the way, possibly, and Carl Johnson also jumps into the pit, as well as Salvaggio. So Salvaggio clears his 5 seconds, but now he has Ellis behind him instead of Taufik, although they did lose, Ellis and Taufik did lose quite a lot of time through their little kerfuffle. I believe the gap was almost 10 seconds as they came across the line.
But now, as a driver, Aiden, you know that if you're Taufik, obviously you'd be keeping an eye on the map to see where Ellis would pop out roughly, so then you know if it's worthwhile pitting, because if he pops out obviously in some traffic, you can sort of see whereabouts or what sort of type of traffic he's popping out, so then you can sort of gauge if he pits now or extends a little bit longer to try and come out in front of that traffic possibly.
Yeah, exactly. Like last night I took 65 litres on the start, so I went a little bit longer in the first stint just so I potentially wouldn't have the same issue of traffic than some other people who might pit a little bit earlier. So Breno's obviously either fueled halfway or he's a bit worried about getting a penalty, so he's pitted a little bit earlier, but I suspect maybe Taufik deciding to go a little bit longer. We'll see if he jumps into the pits now, because there does look to be quite a bit of traffic around Salvaggio and Ellis in terms of just cars on track. So maybe Taufik just wants to keep lapping in the clean air. So we get a replay here of Breno. So he's going to try hold the car around the outside just so he has enough to claim that inside, but that's going to be a tough one for the stewards. I don't want to say anything about it right now. I'm sure they have all the camera angles as Taufik now comes into the pits. So he just wants to try protect from Breno getting too much of a undercut advantage here, I think, even though the tyres don't make too much of a difference here. But he's going to pit in now and potentially brave this sort of traffic. And Lucas Keys as well is only 4 seconds behind Breno as Monks also comes into the pits, I've just spotted. So Lucas Keys, that hot lapping has paid off, as he's been doing. Last lap was 47.3 and best is 47.1, which is maybe not quite the pace I would expect of Lucas in clean air, but it's still going to be enough to bring him closer to this sort of top 4, top 5 sort of battle.
So Taufik's moving, as you can see in that camera 2, and I think because obviously we did see Ellis come out in a nice clear track too, so that's probably why Taufik gave that option. Yeah, he's off, and coming at a rate of knots, here he comes. So this could be a change in pit lane as well, but the Audi coming strong in the end there because they've got the top end speed, but
he tried to brake late. he had the
carrot dangling in front of him, didn't he? He thought, I might have to brake and try and make that move, so it's actually cost him. So obviously his outlap was a bit slow, so actually that was a change in the pit lane for Taufik.
Yeah, I think Breno will be a little bit annoyed by that one, as his hard work against Taufik and possibly even a penalty didn't really come to anything, as we see Lucas just taking that absolutely horrible line through the second through the second chicane, just not bothering to avoid any of the curves. Patrick Johnson's also in the pits, and this is the Honda of Xavier Eaton in front, and we're on board with Chalmers. So Chalmers, so Eaton brakes to let Chalmers through. I think that's all I can think of. Although I can't see where these guys actually are on the timing table, so I don't know I think that was for position, so braking is not really something you want to do if you want to let pass, especially on the straight for position.
No, just let off, but it could also have been maybe a bit of rubber banding.
Rubber banding, yep.
Possibly, which caught
Eaton's
out,
from America,
yeah.
I think. So a little bit of ping, maybe having a play in that as Murphy gets past Gobby down the inside of the second chicane. These guys all yet to pit. As Gobby, there's a little bit of sand duning there on the exit with his left-hand side tyres. But yeah, I'm really interested to see this Breno and Taufik battle to see if it keeps going as we see Rashudi and Johnson. So Rashudi obviously not having the start that he'd want, being kind of taken out in the first corner, typical Monza things, and just outbreaks Carl Johnson into the first chicane. Job so good. There we go, he's through. And Johnson also didn't mess up his pit stop, I've noticed, so he's 4.8 seconds ahead of the next car, which is Nathan Markson. Here we're seeing the Brad Gosling 15-second penalty, so I believe that was one for Ascari with the tap in the rear. So yeah, not too well for that BMW so far.
No, not at all. But obviously got the Tifosi cheering for that overtake on Carl Johnson. So well done to Taufik, I think it was earlier. Rashudi, sorry.
Rashudi getting past. Yeah, Ellis 1.5 off the back of Taufik, and Lucas not around the same gap back from Ellis. So Lucas closing quite quickly. That GTR's got a lot of pace, but he has been on the same tyres since about 5 minutes in. So they will start to not be happy towards the end of the race, as he's been on his tyres quite a lot longer than everyone else. Obviously Breno and Salvaggio only pit 8 minutes ago, so we'll see if the GTR starts eating its tyres towards the end of the stint, or if Lucas is able to kind of drive around that, as Carl Johnson here still hasn't pitted, I don't believe. Oh no, sorry, he has pitted. It's the top 3 now. Gobby's gone into the pits. Adderton's crossing the finish line now, so we'll see where Adderton comes out against Gobby, because these guys were fairly close before, I think. Oh no, sorry, Adderton's gone straight past him. What was I talking about? Gobby just let him through, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but yeah. Still fairly close though between the two as well. So Gobby has been doing pretty good. He stayed out longer, but he hasn't lost too much ground to Adderton really.
Yeah, Igor also is still out, 99 Porsche in P6. So the Porsche guys going quite long into the stint, which is quite common to do. I've seen it quite a few times personally. And also Sam O'Brien with a stop go 30, which I assume is full speed in the pit lane. So that one's gonna hurt him quite a bit. Yeah, which is quite unfortunate. And
yeah, the pit speed limiters, they take no prisoners, do they really? The pit police, because you go over, come in a bit too hot, and I think they measure from when the rear wheels are at the line. Am I correct there? That's when you have to be down at the 60 kilometers, or is it the front wheels?
Yeah, from what I've heard, it varies on some cars. So some cars measure from the rear wheels, and some measure from the rear wing. So I mean, it's a small gap, but sometimes that's all that makes the difference. So yeah, as long as your rear wheels are doing, I think there's also a bit of a speed leniency, like you can do like 2 or around 2 Ks over the 50 or whatever. But yeah, you don't want to be going much faster than that, because then you're kind of playing with fire. As Taufik has built a bit of a gap now to Ellis, who's maybe just the whole Taufik getting past him possibly gotten in his head a little bit, just fighting the mental battle a little bit, and now he's going to have to try and get back onto the Ferrari, as they are encountering some traffic. It's the K Motorsport BMW just in front, and Lucas now possibly going to be getting in slipstream range of Ellis pretty quick, and That GTR, once it gets, Ellis just really on the edge here. That GTR, once it gets in the slipstream, I tell you, even last night in the Bentley, which is a pretty quick car on the straights, that GTR was definitely eating up a lot of ground to me on the straights. So yeah, definitely something Ellis needs to watch out for here.
Yeah, you sure will. But look, we're just under 20 minutes remaining, and Ellis has still got a bit of a cloud hanging over his head, but let's hope to see that it's a fair fight right to the end between these three, because it could get very interesting. But it's up to see if Ellis can actually keep Lucas at bay. But as you said, the Nissan's so hard with the top end speed down the straight, and also Ellis, you brought up earlier, having that extra wing. So if he's not getting a tow from Tafiki in front, he's going to really be a sitting duck, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he might just have to try just going defensive every lap, because the Audi does have pretty good brakes, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. As Justin right on the back of Gobby here. Justin in that McLaren, once it gets going, I reckon it'll definitely be right on the back of Gobby by the end of the straight. And I think Chris Murphy also possibly in the pits. Sam O'Brien, 5-second penalty. So it's not showing right now, but Justin possibly looking down the inside, thinks better of it, but Gobby goes wide and cuts the track. Will he give up the position? That is the question, and it looks like it. So
yeah, you want to try and see if he can fill straight in behind here and protect this position from the Porsche, because it looks like Rochford is keen to try and make this move down the inside and follow the McLaren. Will he do it? But look at the... no!
Oh, no! So I think Justin's just tried to put on the squeeze.
Yeah, the Mustang was late on the brakes, and I thought he's very impressive on the brakes, but yeah, just tagged the back of the McLaren of Justin. But good job by Justin getting back on the track too.
Yeah, he's stayed in front of Gobby, which I'm not exactly sure if that's going to be looked upon too nicely, considering I think that was slightly brought upon himself by kind of trying to squeeze Gobby a bit late in the corner entry there. But they are running side by side into Ascari now. This is definitely another corner where it's difficult to run side by side, as Gobby has got in front. Yeah, that McLaren looks like it's got a bit of damage on the front there. I think he did pick up a little bit more possibly just then from that collision. So we're looking on board with Gobby here. He goes to the outside. The McLaren, just it's on a bit too much of the squeeze. Yeah, a bit too much of a squeeze, and it's given him some more damage, which really isn't going to help him. And I'm not sure if he'll get a penalty for that, because he did kind of suffer from that one in the end. But as we see, Ellis right on the back of Taufik now. So Ellis has clawed back that gap. He's seen Lucas coming behind him and realised he's got to get a move on, otherwise that GTR is just going to drive past him. And Zach Warren, 10-second penalty for a collision on lap 8. So that's also another one that's going to hurt Warren here, as that is a decent penalty, and he's going to lose at least 3 or 4 positions from that one.
Yeah, it's going to hurt. But I think Tafik might have had it, like we said before, when we saw Ellis catch up to the back of him in the opening part of the race as well. Maybe had a bit of a mistake, because Lucas Keys, the gap between him and Ellis is sort of the same. So you'd think that Tafik's probably made just a slight error.
Yeah, well, I think the gap was about 1.6 seconds. So
yeah, you're right.
Ellis has closed that gap pretty quick. So maybe a few errors from Taufik. Very easy to do once you get into the last sort of 10-15 minutes of the race, especially Monza, where it's so repetitive. You can just kind of hypnotize yourself and just lose concentration, because it's just the same thing every lap, and it gets very easy to lose concentration. But Ellis a bit too far back,
sort of thing as well.
Yeah, definitely. Ellis a bit too far back to go for a move this lap, but he's going to benefit from that toe once they start getting down to the end of the straight. Wonder if he's going to pull out and show the nose. He decides not to. Just hits those brakes in a very straight line. Maybe outbraked himself just a little bit there with the toe, and now he's got Lucas behind him. So Ellis kind of has 2 options here. He can try hold his ground and defend against Lucas, or let Lucas through and then try to follow him through if he makes a move. And Ellis has got another run here. Are we about to see a repeat of what we saw before with Ellis trying to hold it around the outside into the second chicane? Can't quite get late enough on the brakes and pull it up to contest Taufik around the outside, but it is definitely on here as now Lucas is really starting to breathe down the neck of both these drivers. So this is going to be a pretty interesting fight to the end, I reckon.
Yeah, sure will be. Obviously, Ellis is vying to see if he can make this P2 in the championship as well. So Rashudi currently holding that, and by I think it's 11 points. And that's why I was looking down the order. I can't see him, so I'm not there in 25th.
P23.
So.
That doesn't sound right. I swear he was further up than that before the pit stops. Or Ellis has got his hand. He's gotten away with that, but. Yeah, I don't remember Rashudi being that far down.
Yeah, obviously he had the you know, the issues at the start too, you know, which wasn't really.
Taufik's had a moment. I've just noticed.
Oh, he has.
Taufik has had a big snap of oversteer on the exit. This is going to allow Ellis to run down the inside. Now we're going to see a drag race between Audi and Ferrari. I think the Audi will just have the edge here. As he just gets in front, he's going to hold this line and pull in front of Taufik as they get into the braking zone. Lucas potentially looking for a move on Taufik, but thinks better of it, and that has really come at the perfect time for Breno. That snap of oversteer for Taufik on the exit of Parabolica, and also at a pretty ideal spot, because when you lose momentum out of that corner especially, you just bleed time or bleed speed the entire straight compared to everyone else. So it's now Lucas on the back of Taufik. We'll see if Taufik makes it as hard for Lucas as he has for Ellis, as Lucas just drives straight over both the curbs. Because obviously Taufik did defend that one pretty hard against Breno. He didn't let him have it easily, and we'll see if he does the same for Lucas as Adderton tries to get past Rosser at a pretty difficult part of the track. Well, there's a little bit of a bump, but they both keep it going. It's going to be side by side into Lesmo 1. This is not somewhere you really want to go side by side through. Adderton holds the speed around the outside and just clears Rosser. So good move by Brady Adderton there to get past Rosser. And yeah, another penalty comes in for M. Rosser. So yeah, his Pro-Am Championship hopes really just evaporating.
Yeah, and well done also to Rosser as well, Calum. That was great driving in that Ferrari as well, with the caliber of Brady. Yeah, so that's that was very impressive. It was good to see.
All right, we're about to see
some people having some incidents in that corner, and they got through nice and clean.
Yeah, definitely. We're about to see the GTR turn on the afterburners here as we get down to the end of the straight, and here it goes. Taufik not defending this one too hard. He's just going to let Lucas by. I think he knows his time's come in that Ferrari. Very close on the exit, but you just watch this GTR. It's just going to leave him in the dust on this straight as, yep, there we go. Just pulls away and stretches his legs. Now Lucas is going to have to head after Breno, who's about a second or a little bit more up the road. Yeah, I'm still interested to see if that was just where Rashudi came out, because I swear he was overtaking some people that were a little bit further up, and Taufik has now got a 5-second penalty for the lap 16 collision, which is possibly the Breno collision, I think. So a minor penalty. It's not really going to make a difference, as it's 10 seconds back to Kyle Johnson, unless Taufik really starts piling on the mistakes. But yeah, we see a replay of that again. So Breno just holding the car on the outside, and Taufik just taking the corner. And yeah, I'm guessing the stewards just said he had overlap and he couldn't do that.
Yeah, and I think that is in the rules books as well. So some people might have think that that's why we didn't want to commentate on it. But Taufik, what some might say, would have the right to that corner. But there is in the rules of that overlap, like you just mentioned there, Aiden, and the car does need to leave a car width room as well. So possibly that's why that 5-second penalty might have been there, because it did look like they did close that gap, trying to take the apex of the chicane there.
This is Scotty Rochford. Oh, spin on the X. Oh no, that's straight into the wall. And that is possibly going to have an effect on the championship. No, I think. Or is it Rochford and Rosser fighting for it? Because if it is, then I think Rochford's still okay. But as well.
Yeah, it's Michael Rosser and Scott Rochford.
Yeah, okay, so Scott Rochford's gotten away with that one. Quite lucky, as Rosser has a massive penalty to deal with as Chris Murphy looks down the inside, gets right on the back of that McLaren, gets down the inside of Zach Warren, and I've had someone in the chat tell me that, oh wow, that's a bad exit from the Ferrari. Chris Murphy just able to drive around the outside.
And they're going to drag the Porsche as well, the second one.
That is, yeah, the Porsche also going to try get involved with this. Zach Warren's going to try go down the inside. Rosser just, holding his position into the braking zone. Well done. Obviously, you've got to remember this is a NAM driver, so not as experienced as Chris Murphy or Zach Warren. Zach gonna have a look into Lesmo 1. Ross is gonna do oh, that's really close on the exit. They're holding it together side by side into Lesmo 2 as well. Warren's gonna have the inside line. Ross sweeps around and it's ended in tears.
And that's where I think the different levels come into it as well. There, we think two pro drivers, it would have been a bit different end result there, but obviously Ross has just enjoyed his moment there and probably should have maybe just backed out a little bit and let those guys through. But look, he's giving it a go, but maybe not the right way to go about it in that corner there. And Lesmos.
Yeah, well, Rowan does have a 10-second penalty, so that battle might have been not really worth Rosser taking, unfortunately for him, as we get another replay here. So, I think Ross has just gone a bit too narrow on the exit of that corner and unfortunately kind of cleaned himself up there. And with that 10-second penalty of Warren already there, I think there's a case to be argued that he might not have needed to fight for that position, but anyway,
Warren was sort of forced up onto the ripple strip there, but anyway, that's one of those things for the stewards to have a look at. But it could have been a good battle for those guys too. Sometimes, as you know, it's sometimes better off just to let off and resume that battle and try and chase the car in front. But Rosser you have to give it to him. He has had a brilliant race up to this point, though.
Yeah, definitely. He's done quite well over this entire race. We see Lucas Keys here. We're about to see a second chicane moment from the Nissan. Oh, yep, there we go. So he's hit it a little bit wrong.
Oh,
and
same barrier.
Yeah, so he's got a magnet on the front of his car to the same barrier that's got Scott Rochford as well. So that GTR line, after 55 minutes or 54 minutes of doing it perfectly, it's come back to bite him. So he's going to drop back down to P6, and that's going to make Taufik's 5-second penalty really irrelevant, as he's 11 seconds behind. And now Carl Johnson is also right on the back of him. So Ellis doesn't have to worry about the Lucas threat anymore. He can just keep on driving these last few laps, as there is a yellow flag again. I think that's the K Motorsports. BMW, are we about to see something sad here between the Porsche and the BMW?
What a run.
Oh yeah, that is unlucky. Porsche just carrying a little bit more speed than the BMW. Why do I keep saying Merc? The BMW was able to carry a little bit of contact on the exit. Now, I think the BMW was blue flagged, so that's going to be a really interesting one, because technically he should be out the way, but you can't also just drive into the back of people. So the stewards will definitely take a look at that one, I reckon.
Yeah, the car obviously overtaking, still needs to, overtake cleanly in a way, but it's hard. The Porsche obviously wanted to keep going, didn't he? But he had that mid-corner pace right through the Ascari chicane, but unfortunately on the exit, just a little tag there.
Yeah. So heading into the last 5 minutes now, Ben Curtis is under threat from Scott Rochford, I believe, that is right behind him. Mustang versus Porsche, a battle that a few months ago probably would be a lot further apart in terms of sort of gap. And Lucas Keys now under threat from Kyle Johnson, who's going to look up the inside. That is a wiggly Porsche in the braking zone, and that thing looks super unstable. But Lucas Keys able to just hold it around the outside, brake a little bit later, and just fend off Kyle for the moment. But yeah, that's Rashuti right in front of them. So Rashuti's a lap down at blue flag, so he got a DT. As well as the damage from the start. So that drive-through is really...
that's why he's so far down.
Yeah, someone in the chat let me know that he got a DT. So obviously too many track limit warnings, and he's got himself a DT, which is kind of easy to do here on the exit of Ascari. And now we watch Porsche versus GTR on the straight. So Porsche right on the GTR's back bumper. He's going to look for the move. Ooh. It's very close. Lucas heavily defending with that front damage. Porsche's going to try hold it around the outside. He actually does. There's a little bit of contact on the apex, but I think that was a bit of a case of Rubbings racing there, as the Porsche braking late on the outside and holding the inside for the second part of the chicane. But we'll see if the GTR has the legs to be able to mount a challenge into the second chicane again, as obviously GTR's got a bit of front damage. You can see that bonnet a little bit stuck out of its position there. As Lucas's car's got a little bit of evidence of his run-in with that wall we just saw them pass.
It was quite surprising to see the Porsche actually have the legs on the Nissan. I thought we talked earlier that the Porsche wasn't so quick as the Lamborghini, but man, he made sure that he could get past that GTR, but maybe that front-end damage has just cost a little top-end speed for Lucas Keys, because he's got a bit of power out of the corners, but it might be at the end of the straights where he was struggling. That's why Carl Johnson was able to get that move done before turn one.
Yeah, so Ross has picked up, or Lucas has almost done what Name did last night, understeering, as Carl weaves down the straight. One is a little bit interesting. But yeah, Ross has got a 10-second penalty for his collision with Warren, which is going to potentially let Ben Curtis steal his position, as Warren and Rosser have penalties behind him. So yeah, there's a bunch of penalties down there. There's the other Rosser, Michael Rosser I think it is, also has that 25 seconds of penalty. So Ben Curtis possibly able to inherit 3 positions just from penalties alone, as Lucas Keys can't find the way past that Porsche in front. And I believe we have one more lap after this, so there'll be this lap and then one more as Patrick Johnson across the line with quite a bit more time left than what these guys did, as obviously these guys are fighting for P6. These guys are also kind of in the same team, I guess. Lucas and Carlos are both part of Kovacs, although Lucas doesn't have a dedicated sort of livery like Carlos does, but that'll definitely be something. Although it is the last round of the season, so I guess the gloves can kind of come off. It's sort of the last few laps of the season, so any penalties or anything here doesn't really matter, apart from maybe a broken friendship or two. But these guys will keep going at it for this lap and possibly the next one too.
Yeah, possibly also teaming up in the next Enduro round at Kyalami in 2 weeks' time too, for 9 hours of Kyalami, so it should be very interesting, that one, so make sure you get your entries in. But we've got, as you said, one more lap to go. The leader is just hitting the first chicane, and a great job by Patrick Johnson. Could this be 2 from 2 for tonight? I believe he did take out the opening race over at Watkins Glen in his Porsche Cup car, which had a great battle with Lucas Keys, if I've got all the right people in the right memory bank there. But it looks like Monks has had a pretty quiet race, really. He kept it clean, gave a bit of a challenge at the start, but we saw that yellow flag come out, and then has just really driven to a race just to hold second position.
Yeah, Monk's definitely putting in the hours for this race, I reckon. Showing his pace for this one. Same with Salvaggio.
Rotten series though, Monk, so it's great to see him on the second position here. And Salvaggio, I think you're about to say that, what a good drive from him. Probably we'll see him in the pro ranks possibly next season if he returns.
Yeah, I think Salvaggio only had a handful of races this season. I don't think he showed up to every race, but from memory, the races that he has been pretty quick. So he's definitely proven his worth here, and same with Patrick Johnson and Monks as well up the very top. Johnson looking well. Oh my gosh, what was that? We'll have to see if that was self-caused or if there was any contact in that, because that is heartbreaking for Kyle Johnson, as he's going to lose the position now to Lucas unless something happens. And Patrick Johnson comes across the line 8 seconds around about in front of Nathan Monks. So well done to Patrick, getting the win for the Bentley boys back at the factory. As I don't even know if Bentley has stuff for their GT3 cars anymore because they're so old. But anyway, we're seeing a replay here of Lucas Keys and Kyle Johnson. So I think Kyle maybe just getting a snap on the OOR. So it snaps on the way in. He gets another snap, and Lucas follows him as well. So both of them just touching the grass on the exit of Lesmo too, and getting massive snaps. They both keep it under control, but Lucas Keys comes across the line in P6. Kyle Johnson 7th, obviously Breno Ellis and Taufik taking up P4 and 5 as well.
Yeah, not too bad for those guys, was it? Lucas Keys and Adderton, both from the back of the grid in top 10. So there you go, and some more styrofoam to be thrown around the circuit. And
oh my god,
Adderton takes the championship but decides to take everyone else with him.
yeah, Adderton just going for the kill there. But yeah, Adderton in P8, Chris Murphy in P9, followed by Zach Jensen. Good job from Zach taking out the Pro-Am win today. Followed by Gobby, Viney, Jusman, Rosser, Rochford a bit further down as well. Rochford still yet to cross the line according to the game, but possibly still keeping his position in the championship. We'll have to obviously see, because these are all...
what a shot this is.
Yeah, bit of a interesting race cars in their natural habitat sort of thing, I guess.
We know it's the end of the season for Split Red when you got donuts in turn 1.
Yeah, they found the camera location as well, so they're watching the stream. They found the camera location, driven right up to it. Lucas' very broken GTR and Brady's very broken Ford, which just disappears in front of us. We see the fireworks and the red, green and white flares going on in the background for all the Italian supporters out there. But that wraps up the racing for Split 22. Oh, sorry, Season 22. Gosh, all this commentating is slowly getting to my head. Season 22 of the Thermaltake Sprint Series, concluding the race at Monza. It was pretty interesting. We did get our fair share of content through there, and Patrick Johnson taking out, like you said, possibly the win at Watkins Glen. I didn't see it, so I can't be 100% certain, but he took out the qualifying, got pole, and managed to convert it in the race as well, followed by Nathan Monks in that Aston Martin. Good to see him up the front again after, like you said, a few rounds of bad luck. Salvaggio in P3 as well, getting a podium. So well done to the silver driver. Obviously heading over to the silver driver standings, we have Salvaggio, then Johnson. I think Johnson taking out that silver championship. I think.
Yeah, he should do. He was leading it coming into it, so should be have taken it out. So well done. That's provisionally. Obviously, drop rounds to go.
Yep. The Pro-Am drivers were Zach Jensen taking out the win, Pete Viney, Jusman, Curtis, and Rochford. So Rochford finishing below Curtis, I think it said there, if this is to be believed, which will be a bit interesting for the title fight possibly, but Ross taking out the AM win in that Ferrari, as we see Ellis and Kyle Johnson doing some Tokyo drifting down
which I think he's my driver of the day is obviously Ellis, with him being able to have that battle that he had right through with Taufik and coming out on top in the end. You could probably say that also Monks had a good run as well, but for the battles that he had, I'd be giving it to Ellis.
Yeah, definitely. Ellis holding that P2 in the championship. A few housekeeping things before we go, just in terms of events and sign-up dates and all that sort of stuff. We've got Friday the 29th is the Club 50 and Sprint Series registrations will be opening, and the Academy Series is already open. Monday 8th of next month is the LMU registrations for Season 4, which will be replacing the GT4 and Porsche Cup slots on the Thursdays, so split blue. And then the 13th of next month is the Kyalami 9-hour endurance. Then after that, obviously, we have the season starting around the 22nd, 23rd of September. So make sure you get all your registrations in, guys, and get ready for the next season, season 23.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you all next start season. I hope you enjoyed. Well done to everyone here for Thermaltake Split Red.